Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Well, thank you everybody for waiting. Of course, start everything up. Rob and I, make sure everything's running the other night. It's all good in the hood. Go for supper, and the world goes to shit when I come back down because my freaking computer's doing an update. I love computer updates. How about you guys? How are you guys?
I had faith in you all along, Joe.
Well, yeah, I don't know. At least one of us had faith in me, and it wasn't me. So, and I hate this angle, but that's okay. I got to go with it. That's what we're doing. Daryl, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Yet it was a little bit of a day yesterday and today, but I'm all good. I had a chat with my boss, and it's all smoothed out now. It's all good.
Good. Right on. That's good. That's good. For those in the comments, Chris, Richard, Record Hound, who else is in there? Mr. Sean Chapman. I'm hosting this shindig. I was just a little bit behind, and I got to look here. I'm looking over there. I got too much. This isn't the main computer. This is like the third computer because the second one that I was working with didn't work either. The first one's ready. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We're here now. Let's talk about some music. For those that are in the comments, where I was going with that is thank you for your patience. Appreciate that. Yeah, nothing specific, nothing special tonight. Appreciate everybody watching. I should tell everyone, for those that don't know, Fearless Leader Rob is actually in Chi-Town for the week. He's got some work that he's doing down there. Reluctantly, he had to go down and go to work. I'm sure he would much rather be with us. Although, Chicago pizza, there are some redeeming qualities to hanging out in Chicago right now. And I mean, anytime, because Chicago pizza, right?
I once won a deep dish Chicago pizza. When I first met my wife, I dedicated a song to her on the radio, and my name was pulled out of a draw, and I won 2 deep dish pizzas and a whole pile of pop from Detroit, Michigan.
Nice. From Detroit, from across the river. So a little Detroit pie. I'm not sure. We need Trevor, who I did ask to be on tonight, to tell us exactly what Detroit pizza is like. And no, Chris, it's not Christmas. I don't know why, because the colors in the background, you're used to that shit. I've always got colors in the background. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't know. I got to figure out this lighting because it's making me look a lot more bald than I usually am. And my son's telling me that I'm always bald.
Yeah, mine, if he was here, it'd be the same thing. We're looking at 3 guys with, well, no, actually 2 guys with hats on and 1 good-looking guy without a hat on. So, we do what we do. We represent. So, Curtis, it's been a minute. Haven't seen you. I know you were out on the sea for a while and doing some, was it lobster or was it fishing or was it little of both? And now back to school. You've probably just been busy as all heck. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, I know. It was a good summer out on the water, fishing lobster, as you say, and then the little time off before school started up. So we were doing lots of vacation, summer stuff with the kids, and then right back into school. So it's been it's been busy, but thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, no, always enjoy having you on. You and I have done some stuff before, and it's always fantastic. Much like everybody else in the comments as well. Everybody that is in the comments, for the most part, has been on the show as well. So Trevor is asking, where in Detroit did the Chicago pizza come from? I'm not sure how we zigzagged from that. I know how we did. He was probably just listening in the background because I was talking Chicago, but then you won something from Detroit, right?
It was a Buddy's pizza. So I drove I had to cross the border. I drove from Windsor to somewhere in Grosse Pointe. It was a Buddy's pizza.
Isn't that a movie? Isn't Grosse Pointe, Michigan a movie? I think that's a movie, isn't it?
Grosse Pointe Blank, I think, was the name of the movie. Yeah.
There you go. Grosse Pointe Blank. Yeah.
Yeah, I got two deep dish pizzas and a whole pile of pop. And of course, it's still like this, but they were really restricting food and meat products going across the border. But I had a roommate that used to work at duty free at customs.
Yeah.
He snuck us through a lane and got me into Canada with no problems with pizza.
Excellent. I should tell a story, but I'm not going to tell
smugglers. There's a new one. I never knew about the meat smuggling ring.
Yeah, exactly. That's different. I knew of a friend. I had a friend of a friend that smuggled some beer across the border, but not some. a whole shitload of beer actually, but we'll not talk about that. We'll digress away from that for right now.
I have a very similar story, Joe, but I'm not going to discuss it on
No.
live television for very similar reasons.
Exactly. It was just friends. It was acquaintances. It was guys we knew that did it, right? Yeah. What's going on the channel, Daryl? I know you've got a lot of things going on in the last little while. Again, I've been trying to keep up, trying to watch.
I had a video drop this morning. I totally forgot that I set it on a schedule, but it's my first in hopefully a mini series of Juno Award winners that I have in my record collection. Right. So I started off with some big guns. You know, the 1970s stuff. Of course, Anne Murray was just chopping up the bit back then, so she was probably the big one. And then a few others from I'm not going to ruin it. Watch the video, but it dropped this morning. And then there was one I did on the weekend. It's been busy. I'm running a blank as to what it was. I can't remember.
Yeah, me too.
I had a question for you guys actually before we move on. I was listening to some music on YouTube. This was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there was a song that came on and it was like 1980s ballad, rock ballad, that kind of thing. And I typed it into Google. I was like, who does this song? And it turned out some guy made it using AI, and it's really good. What are your thoughts about using AI to make music but not getting paid, just doing it for fun?
Curtis, you take that for a minute because I got to grab something. You talk about that.
Okay, no, it's funny you should mention it because I was like scrolling through YouTube and an AI generated song came up. It was, of all things, it was Metallica cover or reggae covers of Metallica songs. And I was like, oh, this is going to be absolute rubbish. And I clicked on it and I was like, I wanted to hate it so much, but I didn't. It's like, there's actually okay. I was like, I really want to hate this. But so, yeah, I get that tells you where I'm at. Like, I don't want to like it. I think it's a terrible thing. You know, I'm kind of like,
I think I had a very similar vibe when I heard that because I like the Guns N' Roses, you know, ballads and the Motley Crue ballads and the Firehouse and all that kind of stuff. And so I came on and I was like, this is a really cool song. I've never heard this one before. And then like I said, I typed it into Google and it's like, no, this is an AI generated song. And I was like, really?
I think, does my camera look any better? I know it's still my face, but it looks better than looking up my nose. I give people shit for that on TV all the time when they do like a news interview and the person on the other end that's doing the Zoom call or whatever has the laptop down below and it's shooting up their nose. I hate that. So, but we're all good. Rick Beato, I believe, did a little while ago. He did a video and actually made the song in the video and like came up with the prompt, came up with the band name, the whole 9 yards. And then he did like a couple of different versions in that. It's out there. And yeah, you know, like you said, Daryl, if you didn't know, I don't think you'd know. It's unfortunate. It's scary. It's going to happen. It's going to happen lots. I mean, we've had a little bit of that, but it's different because it's different than sampling. It's different than a lot of other things, I think, because there is really no influence anywhere, at least with sampling. I think a little bit there's some love for the original song and a little bit like that. And, you know, sometimes it'll resurge and give a little bit of a resurgence to that original song. Like when Vanilla Ice came out, Under Pressure went back up to #1 or something like that. Like there is positives to the old music. There's no positive that way.
And I think the big thing about I think the big thing about sampling, like you're saying too, is there is a bit of a skill to it. Whereas I think with this AI, you just type in a couple of words. Like Rick, I think I know what you're talking about, that Rick Beato thing. You just type in a few words and it creates the song for you. There's no really it's brainless to me, I guess is a word I would use. There's not a lot of thinking involved.
I always hoped AI would do the mundane stuff so that we would be free to do the fun and creative stuff, right? but it seems like AI is now doing all the creative stuff, and we're left doing the boring stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
Speaking of Rick Beato, holy cow, is he ever running into a lot of problems with that Universal thing there?
yeah, he certainly is. He's up against it with those guys, but he has been all along. It's just he's a little bit more vocal now, right? Between him and the professor and stuff like that. And there's a couple other guys. I mean, Justin Hawkins, even he's been on Rick's side. He's talked about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I've used AI. I've made some pictures. I've made some logos. I've done things like that. I'd like to think at no point, though, would I try and put something out there musically, I guess. And or, I mean, I know there's papers being written by AI. There's like, as teachers, you guys just have to be going, oh man, this is too good for this student. Or I don't know if that's a thing. Like, do you start to worry about that? Like, they're writing from before, and has it changed? Have you run across it, I guess, so far?
Well, I'll let Curtis talk, because I'm not an English teacher. Do you teach English?
No, mostly sciences. I mean, I don't know. I use it a lot myself, right? Like I probably use like ChatGPT daily. But it is hard to like, police is probably not the right word in the classroom, but to find the right way of using it to teach kids how to use it and how not to use it, kind of thing. So, but I
know a lot of the students at my school, because of the whole online thing with COVID and all that, a lot of them actually don't like doing online work at all anymore. A lot of the kids at my school went back to pen and paper. They don't like the technology stuff, and I think it's because they're always on it. So having to do it by hand is forcing them back a bit.
And there are positive aspects to it, for sure. Things like, as an example, if you Google something, you always get that AI bit now down below it. And sometimes that's good, because sometimes it does summarize really what you're looking for. I can't remember. I was looking for a song, whatever it was, and that's good. It's dangerous. And I guess we're just going to have to hope that the people in charge know what they're doing and take the steps to ensure that the music that we're hearing is real. And or if it's admitted, I guess, and you like the song, what are you going to do? If somebody comes out and goes, I typed in a sentence, it built this song, it's a decent song, here you go. If you want to listen to it, listen to it. That's fine. But I don't want some guy going, oh, no, I wrote this, I play this, and all the rest of that, and then putting it out there and kind of bullshitting us that way. So, right.
And how is your store doing, Joe?
Yeah, store's good. Busy. We are... it doesn't necessarily pertain to a lot of people on here, unfortunately, because we don't ship in that. But we've got a Saturday opening coming up. We try and do that once a month, because we're normally a Monday to Friday shop, and that works and it doesn't at the same time. There's lots of people that can make it in, but there's lots that can't. So there's actually a nice pop-up sale that's in the neighborhood that weekend. So we're the off-site table, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, it's been good. It's been all right. So let me do something quick here. Because I don't think he's around anymore. But Chris, thanks for coming. I know it's late or early or whatever way you want to put that, and I think he's off to bed. I might be able to make it this Sunday. I never not want to go and join Chris on his show. We just got so much going on here in the fall with football and racing and all the rest of it. So I think he understands that. But anyway, just to clarify that, I do want to be on. I just haven't been able to. What else have I missed? This one, was it Buddy's? Yes, it was. Was it Square, Daryl? Do you remember the pizza that long ago? We're back to pizza.
Yes, it was Square.
Okay. All right.
Square one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get caught up here. Let's see. What have we got here? Richard's got, I'm afraid album releases will become a thing. It's a possibility. Yeah. I mean, again, you type in, hell, you could say this is the name and this is the concept for the album. They might start writing concept albums. I don't know. That's not what we want. So let's see what else. Record Hound. What was the Reggae Metallica? Easy Star All Stars? Was that what that was? Do you remember, Curtis?
I don't remember what the name it was, but it wasn't that. It was something like, I wrote down in the comments there, something like Rasta Talica or something like that.
Okay, cool. Good.
But yeah, like I say, it wasn't fantastic, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So All right. Oh, Brian. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. Our friend from Tokyo. I was going to try and get you on, but I wasn't sure exactly what time because you're here sometimes, you're not sometimes. I don't know. The, we've got East Coast, we've got middle of the country, we've got whatever you want to call me, prairies, I guess. And then I was going to try and get Brian from Japan. I asked a few other people. I asked Trevor. Anyway, nobody wanted to not be here. Nobody wanted to be here because Rob's not here, except for you, Curtis. Thanks very much. I appreciate that.
Happy to be here, buddy.
Good. It is nice to see you back. Appreciate that. Okay. I left it out. I left this open to whatever you guys wanted to. So free for all, run what you brung is a little bit of a racing term. Just run your junk, whatever you like. I've got a couple of things that I want to mention, but really this was me kind of being lazy because I had everything pulled out for last week's show that I didn't make because I was coming back from Saskatoon and I wanted to show a little bit of that. And I've got some other stuff that I've bought, but yeah, nothing set. I'll ask this question and then we'll go from there. So we'll start it off with this. And Curtis, you're our guest. Not that, Daryl, you're not a special, always here kind of, you know what I mean. Curtis, is there a genre that defines your listening? I think there is, but maybe I'm wrong. Or are you comfortable with saying that, yes, it is this? And then whatever you want to show, you don't have to go into that. But if you've got some of what you're going to say, then please do.
I don't think there would be, actually. I think like the majority of my collection, if I was going by like sheer numbers, would probably be like the classic rock kind of stuff. But I've been on a reggae bender for a while. Did I lose everyone?
No, we're here.
Okay,
I'm working on getting everybody in the right spot. There you go. You're good.
I've been on a big reggae bender for the last, I don't know, 3 years, I guess, maybe 4. So that's been a big focus lately. So lately, I'd say definitely reggae. You know, I just got my Bob Marley cover of Rolling Stone out there the other day in the mail. So
awesome.
So that's been a big focus lately.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was hip hop, that kind of stuff, right? But the majority of my collection, I think, by volume, would be classic rock.
Well, there you go. Okay, so with that said, whichever you want to start with, have at her.
All right.
Free for all. You're in.
So I kind of went the easy route too, and just kind of took out what I've been listening to lately.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
That was kind of my my approach to this.
Sure.
So picked up I do a fair bit of thrifting, right? Whenever I have a little bit of time, particularly if the kids are at, you know, a sporting thing or music lessons, I'll pop into the thrift store while I'm waiting for them. And so a couple of these are from the local thrift stores or recent thrift finds, including the first one I've got here is the Blues Project. Never heard of the Blues Project. That's what I love about thrifting. I don't mind throwing a couple of dollars down to try something new, right? And I like this. This is great. This is I want to say late 60s. The Blues Project were out of that sort of Greenwich Village scene in New York. They only released a couple of albums before they all went their separate ways. Notable would be Al Cooper, who did a lot of session stuff and later went on to. I think he was one of the founders of was it Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I think. And
I can't remember, but there's that one Cooper. There's the one where there's the 3 guys on that I can't remember the name of the album, but yeah.
Super Session.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with Stills.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is great. Like for $1, I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised with this. It was they do an 11-minute version of 2 Trains Running, which is a Muddy Waters tune, which is really nice. The track before this, You Can't Catch Me, is really it's a bit eclectic. I think this might have been the first album was like a live album, and then this was their first studio album, I think. Okay. If I read that correctly. So it's kind of eclectic. It's like there's some acoustic-y kind of stuff, there's some bluesy stuff, there's some kind of rhythm and blues kind of sounds on here. But yeah, I think it, a solid album. It's on the Verb label. Forecast, Tan,
Cool.
Verb. So yeah, so a thrift find that I was happy. A big chunk out of the corner, but that's okay.
I was going to mention that like that's what I like about this. You're not afraid to show stuff like that, and it's kind of like we brought this up. I think one time that one of these days we should do like a show of top 10 pet peeves of ours or something when it comes to music or the VC or whatever. And for me, that's one thing that bothers me is when people are like, "Oh, you got a $1 record is damaged." That okay, the cover might be damaged, but the vinyl itself looked pretty clean to me.
Yeah, it was. It was. There's a couple of hairlines and things on it, but it plays really well. So
Yeah.
It's a few hairlines, but it's nothing.
It's
nothing
about the music, not about the cover.
That's right.
Exactly.
The music stupid, as
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Maslow would say.
as he would say. Yeah. Okay. Follow-up question. This isn't a test tonight. I just like asking questions. So, is there a price point where you're willing to take a shot on an album? You said that one was $1. Is there a? For me, I think it's around $10. I'll maybe take a shot on something if I'm going, yeah, a pretty good idea. I mean, we all have the tools of Discogs and everything else, but if it's just a true blind, there is no internet, you can't look anything up. Is there a dollar amount that you draw the line at for that?
I think it's probably around $10 as well. That's kind of my go-to, like, $10. If it looks really interesting, you know what I mean? $10, I'll shell out $10 for it. So
yeah, that's fair. That's good. Okay, Daryl, you are up, my friend. And so same two questions. Is there a genre that defines you at all that you think? And then if you're out and searching around for stuff, do you have a dollar amount for something like that?
I don't know specifically if it's a genre that defines me, but I would say that I'm definitely an 80s decade. So
Yeah.
if I'm in a thrift store or something like that and I see 80s stuff, even if it's something I've never heard of, I'll probably pick it up for a blind buy just for fun. $5 to $10 is probably my price point for a blind buy.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's good.
And I've got some wicked steals for $1 or $2, like really good records that I'd never heard of them. They're like one record wonders. And so, yeah, I would say that I'm an 80s guy. I don't mind the classic rock and stuff like that. Obviously, I grew up in the 90s with grunge and alternative and stuff like that. But I mean, trying to find OGs of 90s presses of any of that stuff is,
yeah,
you may as well just buy a reissue because it's just insane.
Yeah, unless you come across someone who doesn't know what they have, right? And that's another question, but that's down the line. We'll bring that up. But yeah,
my approach to this evening was I just grabbed a whole pile of records from different genres and things like that. I think some of these I've shown before. I know one of them, one of my first picks here, I've shown on this channel before, but kind of in passing, talking about a movie. But I'm trying to show off stuff that I don't really remember showing.
Cool. Well, there you go. The floor, the stage, the screen is yours, my friend. Have at her.
All right. So this is a twofer, and the reason it's a twofer is because the singer is involved in the soundtrack for the movie. Now, the soundtrack for this movie, I don't know if Rob is still here, but I know Rob loves this movie because I think everybody loves The Never-Ending Story with the Luft Dragon and all that. It's one of the coolest movies of all time. And so I've shown this, but The Never-Ending Story, the theme song and all that kind of stuff is awesome. However, the lead singer, the one-hit wonder Lamal, I do have his solo album.
There you go.
It's a pretty good album. I mean, if you like, I guess, new wavy synth, that kind of thing, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, I think the soundtrack is better just because I'm more familiar with the movie than I am with this here. But it's pretty cool stuff. And I mean, hey, how can you go wrong with a hairstyle like that? I mean, I can only imagine what it's like to have hair. But that's quite the hairdo going on right there. So
that is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like I said, I mean, Lamal's not going to be for everybody. Now we've talked about remember we talked about really bad album covers?
Oh yeah.
We never did really boring album backs.
No,
I
we
mean, it
didn't.
doesn't get any more lazy than that.
Wow, that is minimalistic. If you looked up the word in the dictionary, there would be a picture of that cover, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know what your thoughts are on like that synth pop 1980s soundtrack movies with one hit wonder type guys, but I've always been fascinated by one hit wonders, and I think some of them just wrong place, wrong time. I think because
yeah,
I think
yeah,
some of them could have had more than one hit, but they were just everybody was so focused on that one, and I think one of these bands I'll probably be talking about later is like that where they were more famous in another country, but we're still familiar with it here, but wrong place, wrong time, maybe.
yeah. Um, I have to scroll down. I want to bring up a couple of messages, which I will, and then I'm not sure if Richard has chimed in, for lack of the proper word, on the synth pop, because I know he and I, along with the rest of us, have had a little bit of a discussion of that. Recently, I picked up a couple of Pet Shop Boys albums, and I think that I don't know if I put it in the pile here or not, but I played so much of that back in the day, like back in the 90s and more so the 80s, and then I guess later into the early 90s as well. I played so much of that in the bar, because that was of the time. That was the genre that got played. But so I have my days where I'm a little sick of it and I don't want to hear anymore. But you give me like Dead or Alive, Spin Me Round, the Pet Shop Boys, New Order, all of that stuff. It's such really, really good fun music for sure. Because it's just very much upbeat, but all the stuff from OMD and the Psychedelic Furs and a lot of that, I really enjoy all of that. So yeah, I'm always a big fan. Like I said, I've kind of had my fill. There's some that fall into the category that we also talked about before of things I don't need to hear anymore, but it's good stuff. So that's awesome. That's good. And that's exactly what my hair used to look like. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he stole that from me. Let's go back a little here. This was, there you go. Richard talking about his In Shrink Records, because Record Hound mentioned the fact that I don't have a problem with it. Rob is the one that detests the shrink on the records, pretty much of the three of us. We've all ripped our shrink off before, but if it's not hurting anything and it's on there, if it's on there, not necessarily that it's closed, but if it's on there, that's okay. What else have we got here? We have The Never Ending Story. See, there you go. Devin's talking about The Never Ending Story, an excellent soundtrack. And Devin, I'm not going up to Saskatoon, or I'd bring your records up for you. But hopefully you're able to find someone. Let's see. What else have we got here before we move on? He's growing a cactus in his head. Is that me? Who's that? Is that Curtis? I'm on the small screen today. I don't have the big screen going. Hey, look at the old man leaning in so he can't see. I'm not sure. What else have we got here? I found a couple of synth heavy bands. There you go. Ducks Limited out of Toronto, and Nation of Language, I think that says. Great new bands. Damn it, the screen's too small, but there you go. So we're a little caught up. I'm sure I've missed some. And Brian, I certainly will ask you the next time to join us. My turn. Genre defining, I don't know. It certainly has changed. I think if you would have asked my buddies back in the late 80s and the early 90s, it probably would have been the metal of the time, like the Poisons and the Metallicas and things like that. But obviously Springsteen and Steve Earle and Tom Petty are huge influence as well. So the roots rock, the blue collar stuff, I like to call it, things like that. So I'm not sure exactly if I have a genre definer. I know when you look around, I mean, you see the posters on the wall, and when it's over there, there's a bunch of Kiss stuff over there. But it's fairly eclectic, and it's grown. And that's another question, but that's down the line, down the hour as well. What time are we got? 6:42. We're doing good. So with all of that said, and I'll probably spend about $10 or so, I think, to take a blind buy. I'm going to mention a band. It doesn't get talked about very often on here, so I thought I would bring it up tonight. And it's a band from Canada, and their name is Blue Rodeo. I'm not sure if you guys have. Oh, never mind. I don't even know if he's watching or not, but we had to get Blue Rodeo in there somehow. I wasn't sure if you were going to do it, Daryl, but I thought I'd do it. So
I actually don't have any Blue Rodeo on the vinyl.
Yeah. And I really like Blue Rodeo, so I just happened to pull that one out. But
they're playing a show here in November, and the tickets just went on sale, but I missed them.
Yeah, with Clay, with Adam Baldwin, right? Or is he out there too? Yeah. I have to go. Not have to go. I'm Saskatoon. He's not. They're not playing here. They were here for the exhibition in the summer, so they're playing Saskatoon in the fall. I do want to talk about a Canadian band, though, and good Canadian kids that you are. Although maybe a little before your time. I don't know. FM. Does that ring a bell at all, guys?
I have an FM record somewhere.
They had Phasers on Stun was kind of the hit, kind of, and it's not even on this album because I don't have that album. I have this one. It's one that I just recently picked up of theirs, but good band out of Eastern Canada. I think they had like 3, 4, 5 albums, but definitely Canadian keyboard associated rock. Does that make sense? I don't know. I think that makes sense, right? Like even bands like Street Art had a lot of keyboards in it. So did Harlequin. So did a lot of those late 80s, early 90s Canadian bands, or even early 80s Canadian bands as well. But FM, the song was Phasers on Stun, was kind of the big hit. Nash the Slash went on to do some stuff himself as well. But this is a really, I picked this up and I listened to it the other day. It's fantastic. So if you're looking for something different from a Canadian perspective, not a big band, but a good band, I think I've listened to one of the others' albums. I just don't have that one. Maybe a couple, but good stuff. FM, Dream Girl, I maybe got a little bit of airplay, but that's about it on here. But good stuff, though. Good stuff. And I'm not sure if some of the guys went on, other than Nash the Slash, lead and background vocals, electric, mandolin, harmonica, violin, bouzouki, and mandola. That's all the things that Nash the Slash played on here. So
that's 80s, you said, eh? Or is it late 70s?
Yeah, this is 80s. This is 87. I think their first album is a couple before this, so probably mid 80s, 85-ish or whatever. But yeah, I like them.
Yeah. So it's like keyboard 80s Canadian sound is what you're saying. Yeah.
100%. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's good. So there you go. Richard says that he's heard of Record Hound, Nash the Slash. Record Hound is probably going to have heard of those guys before as well. So there you go. And Nash the Slash. Well, I could probably, instead of just saying it, I could put them up because that's how this works. Nash the Slash, there's that. And then did some work with Gary Newman. And we all know that our resident Gary Newman expert is Richard. Here we go. What's this one? Is 4 extra copies of Black Noise by FM. If you want, well, there you go. I have a couple at the shop, but I can't remember what they are. One is actually autographed too. So, but I didn't get them myself, but it's autographed. Anyway, I digress. So there you go. There's round one. Here's. I don't necessarily need the answers to these, but I'll ask them anyway. What the heck? Because I thought of stuff as I went along. Do you guys buy much new stuff? Daryl, I know it's hard for you. And Curtis, I'm not sure if you buy much new material or not. And I guess that could be new reissue as much as new artists as well. So we'll just stay in order and we'll see if I can keep the order, and we'll do that. And Curtis, you are up, sir.
Don't buy a tremendous amount of new stuff. New artists, not often. I might have a newer compilation. Oh, I got a couple newer ones in here today, actually.
Well, there you go.
But I tend to prefer going to the used bins, probably because I'm a cheapskate, you know.
Sure.
And I'm still kind of building my record collection, right? So I'm still in that kind of phase where it's I don't know. But I'm looking for new stuff all the time, right? So
sure.
And I like the hunt. I don't know. I still enjoy looking through dusty old bins and stuff. I enjoy that. So I tend to go there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Speaking of dusty bins, this is another one I picked up at the same time as the Blues Project one I had mentioned, and. Daryl, I know you're a fan of this artist. She just released a new album, Canadian, and this was still in the shrink. We're talking about someone. Was it Record Hound or Richard was talking about the?
Yeah, well, Record Hound said he has a lot in the shrink, and then Richard said he also has some stuff that's in the shrink still. So
this one, Daryl, is in the shrink for $1.
Perfect.
good old
I
pride of
have though. It's a great album.
Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Right. I thought of you, Daryl, when I saw that. I was like, you know what? I don't own any Anne Murray, and as a Nova Scotia boy, she's ubiquitous with Nova Scotia. So I said I should own some Anne Murray. And what better place to start than this greatest hits from early '80s?
Yeah, probably.
1980. There you go, 1980. So
80, yeah.
It's got Snowbird on here, which is a big one for her. Daydream Believer, it's another smash hit for her. Those are probably the two biggest ones, I'd say, off of this. But yeah, just good, easy listening, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, and she's sold. I think she was like one of the first gold record sellers in Canada. I think she was the first Canadian to ever have a gold or platinum record or something. I can't remember. I'd read somewhere something like that, and not that many people know that she sold tons of records.
Yep. So it's it's interesting because I probably have, I don't know, maybe 20 years on both of you, maybe not quite that many, but about that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm older, and I was around when she was prominent, when she was current, right? Those songs were played on the radio and that. But you guys have come to
death,
the
probably.
Pardon?
Played to death, probably.
Oh yeah, played to death. Yeah, CanCon up the hoop. She got played on country stations. She got played all over the place. But that's the thing is. So for me, I mean, I listened to her as she evolved, if you want to say evolved or whatever. But you guys came to her later, so that's good. And is it because she is? And I'll call it a Canadian icon, right? She is. Is it because of that? Is it a nostalgic thing, or is it a little of both? I mean, it's good music. I do appreciate it. It's not something I listen to all the time, but it is good music as well. So,
well, it's definitely not like in my normal wheelhouse, to be honest with you, right? Like it's not something I'll pull a lot, but it's the fact that it is classic Canadiana, and she's a Nova Scotia born girl, and yeah, that was what attracted me to it. Really, it's like I should have some Anne Marie in my collection.
Sure.
I just feel obligated.
Yeah, it is almost a little bit of that, I think. What about you, Daryl? Same scenario?
I think what it is, my dad used to listen to Anne Marie when I was a kid, and it's just something that I didn't like it when I was a kid. But once again, I think I've mentioned this, that there's some bands that my dad listened to, and he used to listen to them just to torture me because he knew I hated them. But I've come to appreciate why he listened to them. Yep. If that makes sense. And now like I've got probably 4 or 5 Anne Marie records in my collection, couple of greatest hits and a few other ones. She's got some good music, just soft music. Her country music's not that bad. It's good, but her country music is definitely indicative of the 1970s style.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. That's the thing. So a couple quick things here. Hey,
I said she's still going too. That's like an amazing thing. Like she just, I think maybe last month or this year anyway, released another album. I don't know how old she is, but she must be getting up there.
And the same manager as Alice Cooper, so that's always cool too. So at least I think she stayed with him. I don't know why she would have went with anybody besides Shep, so that's kind of cool. But Fearless Leader is here. He's in Chicago. I'm not sure if he's sitting in his room or not, but thanks for joining us, Rob. Appreciate it. Now that we're on the air and live.
Careful you don't get deported down there, Rob.
Rob, we were talking about pizza earlier from Chicago. You can't go wrong with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have all my computer problems worked out. He texts me. He goes, you're supposed to be on, right? And I said, yeah, my computer died. So what do we got, Rob? At work. And and there you go. Anne just got, how does Anne Murray just get a lifetime achievement at the Junos in 2025? Like that should have been done a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Were there that many bands ahead of her? I don't think so. There's not that many bands ahead of her in the time frame, really. But
No.
I don't know. Award shows are award shows, I suppose. What else? Yo, Rob. Cheers, Rob. What do we got here? I remember Snowbird on the radio. So that's Richard down in Denver. But yeah, Snowbird I think was a fairly big hit internationally, possibly as well. So a good Canadian song. So anyway, Daryl, being remote as you are, I don't know how much opportunity you have to get new vinyl. I know you've got one in the last little while, but
Yeah, so a lot of my if I get new stuff, obviously I have to eat the shipping cost. That's the big thing for me. But I am going to show actually today some just new reissues and stuff that I bought in the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 6 to 12 months. The last half of the year, I guess.
yeah.
No, I didn't have this in my pile. It just happens to be sitting here, and I've shown this. Like something like this. This is the only record store day purchase I've ever made, but it's because I just can't get to a record store for record store day. And I love this. If you want an album that's on heavy rotation for me, is this anthology, the Harem Scarum. I love those guys. They're fantastic.
Awesome.
And I think I showed my Primus one recently. I bought the Brown album.
Yeah.
But I have some other ones that are in here. Were you here when I showed Roxette, or was that last week?
It might have been last week because I was gone for a couple. I was camping and then with my mom last week. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so
look sharp or which?
I got a reissue of Joyride.
Oh, okay, cool. Man, I don't think so. I don't think I was around. So not that I don't watch them back after the fact, but you know.
Yeah. So for me, it's just a matter of if I get the opportunity to buy new, it's usually on my way, like when I'm down south on vacation, or if I'm at a conference or something.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, it's tough too. And you don't even have, it's not like you have a local shop to support either. So, right.
No.
Yeah.
No. So I'm going to show a couple of new ones after this one. You'll see.
Cool.
But this one's definitely not new, but we talk occasionally about a Winnipeg company that is, I think they're defunct now, but K-Tel. Yep. Talked about K-Tel many times. I've got tons of K-Tel because I'm not ashamed to say that I don't mind those various hits albums from the 70s and the 80s. But this is one that, once again, I remember my dad had this when I was a kid, and I was always fascinated by this cover. And I don't know if you've seen this one, Joe, but the Nutty Numbers K-Tel.
No, I don't think no, you know what? And I have seen a lot of K-Tel records because they're in collections, right? And I've never seen that one. No.
So this one here has, what's on this one? Disco Duck. Yeah. It's got Jim Stafford's Spiders and Snake, Sheb Woolley's Purple People Eater, Mr. Custer, which I guess in a PC world is probably not a good song anymore, but
probably
didn't age well.
Yeah.
But it's got Ramalama Ding Dong. It's got what else is on here? Stranded in the Jungle, but not the one from the 70s there. It's by the Tar Sands.
Yeah.
And Speedy Gonzales by Pat Boone. So hey,
nice.
It's just a fun album. And I've never shown it before. And I'm thinking one of these days I'm going to do it. Vinyl Martini did. He did an episode of K-Tel records and stuff. I'm going to show some of my K-Tel Ronco quality records because they're good. I mean, I understand you might not get the full song and stuff like that, or it's an edit, but it's just fun.
No, I agree. I listened to I can't remember which one the other day because there's a few songs where they were only singles and they made it onto some of those K-Tel albums, like the 5-Man Electrical Band, the Werewolf song was never, well, it was probably on some compilation, but it was never officially, I don't believe, on a 5-Man Electrical Band album, but it was a single. And then it was also on a couple of different K-Tels. So yeah, there's things like that. Stranger Here on this place called Earth. Who's that? That was 5-Man Electrical Band as well. That's another one. And it was on some K-Tel thing I was looking at the other day. Yeah, they're fun to put on. You're right. You listen to Freebird. Freebird is actually on one of them, and it's about 3 minutes long. There's a little bit of the beginning. There's just a really short guitar solo, and then there's the end, and that's about the extent of it. So, but Yeah. They're fun. There's Goofy Greats. There was a bunch of different compilations of the silly songs. Ray Stevens, other than what was his one? Everything is Beautiful. That was his kind of his serious. Beyond that, he was the Streak, and he was not the Freakers Ball. That was Dr. Hook. What was his other one? Oh, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival and the Shriners Convention. And yeah, he had a bunch of fun stuff. So, and all of that is a lot of fun. And I have no problem with those K-Tel albums. I think they're great. So
Agreed.
they don't sound with the Dam, unfortunately. They don't sound great because they are very compressed and or shortened, but they're fun to put on. It's fun for sure. So
yeah, like if you're ever having a party or something like that, and you don't want to have to get up every so often to change it, you got 20 songs in a row. There you go.
it's like putting an iPod on shuffle and letting it go. So you just got to get up and flip the iPod every once in a while. All right, me now. It's a little different for me, obviously, because of the shop, and we've got a distributor that we can go through. And I think I've mentioned this before, where shipping costs are ridiculous, and we won't get into that, but where I will supplement orders to help bring shipping costs down because I buy them for myself. I pay cost, and then I pay the shipping difference. But that way, it brings the total of the shipping down, because usually it's $30 in Canada, whether it's 1 or 2 or it's 10 or 12. So sometimes I'll throw some in there. So I've done that a lot as of late. As far as I bought the new Lady Gaga, I enjoyed that. That's good. I obviously went on at nauseum about Green Day last year, and that there's a ton of artists. It can get really expensive, because I've talked about this before as well, I think. And there is not a lot, honestly, guys, there is not a lot of markup on a record. There is, for sure. But as an example, if you're seeing, let's say, $50 for a record at a box store, even on Amazon, that's still cost of about 38, 39. Like, you're making $10, maybe 12, maybe 15 if you're charging a little bit more, which is, on a $30 item, that's pretty decent profit still, but it's not big numbers. It's not like anybody is getting rich. You have to sell a lot of records to make it pay, really, like a lot of new vinyl, for sure. So I just want people out there, and I did a whole video about this, about support local as much as you can. Daryl, I know you can't, and Curtis, I'm not sure how much is around you. And look, we've all bought things off Amazon. We've all gone to Costco. We've all gone to Walmart. I'm not going to say I've never done that, but I'm on a couple of Facebook pages, and this one young guy was in and doing videos. Now, it was more for him to get views on his video channel than to support and promote the store. But he was in one of the Toys R Us deals and showing records, and come and buy things at Toys R Us. Why the hell would you go and buy something from Toys R Us? I don't want you to shop at Amazon unless you have to, and I get that some do. I don't want you to shop at Toys R Us. Why? Because there's lots of different ways to get new music, and that's my little soapbox for the day. So I'm done. With that said, I have bought a whole shitload of new stuff in the last little while, but most of them have been reissues. There's been a little bit of new stuff, but I went last week, 2 weeks ago, I went to look for an album because I was down some YouTube rabbit hole. Anyway, I saw the Donnas, the band The Donnas. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with or not, but I got to go listen to that album because I've got that album. I didn't have that album. So what I did is our next order, I went and bought all the albums by the Donnas, except for 2. They lost their record contract, so they started their own record label, and there's one on that which isn't available and probably won't be. And then there was one at my distribution that wasn't in stock, but it's on back order. But for those that don't know, female rock band, almost punk, kind of poppy punk or whatever. I'm not sure. You guys familiar with the Donnas? Your small heads were shaking. Yes, I think. I'm not positive. This screen is way too small for an old guy, but
I don't know them well, but I know the name. And
yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, and it's just good. They're just really good. They're really good musicians. The albums are great. I haven't had a chance to listen to them all. They're all different colored vinyl as well. Not that matters, because these are reissues, because that's what was available. I think this one, which is the self-titled, was the first one. And 1997, they were around for a while. I think they're kind of defunct and or not doing a whole bunch. Band wars, who knows, that kind of crap. But good stuff. Just good power poppy, really, really good punky stuff. I like them. I'm not sure for those that are watching or will be watching if you're familiar with or not, but they're kind of like the Ramones, Donna G, Donna C, Donna A, Donna. They all got that going. But there's a lot of good new, I think, female artists. There's a lot of pop artists for sure. There's the Sabrina Carpenters. There's the Chapel Roans. There's the Charlie XCXs. But there are some good rock and roller out there as well. The Beaches. Beaches have a new album coming out. I talk about JJ Wild. She's had her album out for a little bit now. So there's still some great rock getting produced by young female bands as well. I think Joan Jett started up her label. L7 was on there, and there's some other bands on there as well. But I went to look for one and ended up buying all that I could for now. But I recommend the Donnas. Give them a listen, if nothing else, on a streaming platform, if nothing else. But they're fun. So
yeah, I was trying to find what song it was that I remember by them, but I can't.
Yeah,
they remember what it was.
I don't know if they were.
Roll On Down the Highway. That's the one I remember. They redid Roll On Down the Highway.
Yeah, I don't know if they were
really good. That cover is amazing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there were hits per se, but there was definitely a lot of good stuff. Yes, Richard, correct. Wet Leg. That's someone new that is also out there. That's putting out some good stuff. Amel and the Sniffers as well, out of Australia. She's quite the charismatic front woman for sure. I don't have that new one. That one's been out for a little while. They've got at least a couple, 3. I think Wet Leg is 2 albums in now as well. So yeah, there's some good rock and roll being done by some female artists out there. Of course, Manson and Garbage are still going as well. Surely, I think they were out on tour, maybe even in Canada. Maybe they had a couple of dates. I can't remember. But anyway, good stuff. So yeah, that was my way of going from buying new stuff to buying too much new stuff sometimes. But so yeah. Let's see. What do we got here? Toys Are Mine. That one's gone already. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're for long to be around because from what I understand, you go in and there's no order, there's no nothing. But what are you going to do? I guess it's not going to break my heart if they don't go away. New Robert Plant. There you go. That'll be good. Just Robert Plant. Is it JWG? I should know that. Or is it him and Allison? You'll answer me in the comments, I'm sure. What else? So that was that. And Nutty Numbers. Hoping that the new there's Richard. What do we got? Richard's got something here. Hoping the new plant is a bit harder edged. Not holding my breath though. So yeah, we'll see. So I guess maybe it is just a Robert Plant by himself. Do you want another question or you just want to show some records?
Show us another question. Go for it.
All right. Okay. We'll see if you've got something based on the question. So we did new stuff, kind of. Is there a genre that you would like to explore more? Curtis, you can go first. So is there something that you've just a little bit gotten into and now would like to explore more?
Yeah, one of the things that jumps to mind, I think I can't remember what my last video was. Oh, it was a recent finds video, and I mentioned this in my last video, but I'll mention it here again. I've been kind of dipping my toes into jazz funk. And I'm really digging some of the stuff I'm finding. You know what I mean? It's some of it's been really cool. There's a label called Kudu, Kudu. Yeah. And I've been snapping those up every time I see them. You know what I mean? Just, not heard at all, but just because the last couple were good. So I'll pick up anything on that label recently.
Sure.
Let me show a couple.
Please do. Yeah. There's sometimes that's a thing, right? There are some labels where you're fairly certain that they're not going to stray a whole bunch, that you're going to get something interesting out of. And I mean, obviously Sub Pop comes to mind, especially back in the day, but so yeah, there's lots of those little independent kind of labels that you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get when you pick up something from that label. So you find them? No?
Nah, just they're piled in there somewhere. I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But
But that's
yeah,
something that
so
you
some
kind
of
of
the names
ran
that were
across.
on that label that I picked up. So I think it started when I picked up an Idris Muhammad album at the thrift store, which I absolutely loved. And so then I think I found like a Roy Ayers that was, not bad. So it kept my appetite wet. Then an Esther Phillips was another one, all on that same label. Then I found it just recently on holiday, on vacation. I went to Prince Edward Island and I went to the record store there. I found another Esther Phillips.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of going down that route a little bit in terms of the genre to explore. Maynard Ferguson was another one that kind of popped up. Like I know, I still got to, there's the Herbie Hancocks and the that kind of stuff as well that I know I will like, but I just haven't bothered to shell it the money for.
Yeah.
Let me show a record right quick then.
It's kind of nice going into a shop though with a little bit of a mission, right? Like a lot of the times, I know when I go in, I kind of go to the new arrivals, and then there's a couple that I look for specifically. So it's nice to tweak on something, and then you're able to go to the shops and even go back to some of the shops you've been to before and go and look because you've discovered this new genre. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to your last question, new vinyls. This is the last record I bought.
Okay.
So it's going to kind of talk a little bit about your don't buy from Toys R Us kind of stuff as well.
Okay.
So this is Woman of the Sun. This is Jamila's newest album. I've showed this before. Jamila is a local reggae artist with a great pedigree. Her dad was a very famous reggae guitarist named Earl China Smith. She's based out of Halifax now. Picked this up at her show. She played at Stanfest this summer. That was the last new piece of vinyl I picked up. And so this is another local group. They actually played there as well. Actually, I didn't get to see them there because I didn't know what stage they're on. But anyway, Slow Coaster, local band as well, a three-piece band. They actually have a bit of a reggae vibe going on. They're not a reggae band by any means, but they do have a bit of a reggae beat to a lot of their tunes. Yeah, but so local artists, I'll often buy their new merch, their new music whenever I can. That way I'm supporting the artist like directly head on. So I'm always keen to do that, especially at a show.
Yeah. That's a great point too. I know I say support local, but obviously the artists, we have to support them as well. And if you can pick it up direct at their show, that's great. I think I just got my nose out of joint a little bit by this guy promoting the Toys R Us the other day when, I don't have a massive, huge selection, but I can get just about anything. And I'm always cheaper than the other place as well. So I think, like I said, I just got my nose out of joint a little bit when I saw that the other day. So, but what are you going to do? Richard brought up,
absolutely.
Yeah, Richard brought up the fact, beautiful cover art on both of them. Actually, I think he was talking about the first one, but then you showed the second one. And was that an El Camino or was that a Ranchero on the back? Or does it say
El Camino?
El Camino, early El Camino. There you go. Very nice. So that's awesome. That's great, and it is great cover work. Right.
They often have a bit of a Spanish guitar kind of feel. So I don't know. I don't know. I think El Camino. I think Lowrider for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of Lowrider El Caminos. That's for sure. Definitely. So yeah. So, all right. Daryl, you are up, my friend. How about you? Is there a genre that you have scratched the surface or have thought about, or both?
So. Thought about, and now you talked about earlier in the show about blind buys.
Yep.
I bought this. It was like at a thrift store. I think it was some Mennonites that ran this thrift store. It was in Southern Ontario. I can't remember. And I saw it. It was behind the glass, and they were selling it for $5. I'm not into jazz, but I did buy this on a whim because I was like, it's $5. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's stuff like Count Basie and things like that. I've never really listened to it. I listened to this album and this one's fantastic to the point where I actually had to input this one on Discogs because it wasn't in Discogs. I think this is the Canadian press, so it wasn't on Discogs. But jazz is something that I don't know. I'm a little hesitant on because it's definitely a genre that I'm not familiar with, and I think you got to be in a kind of a mind frame. I know that it's not for everyone, but the bigger one, and it's funny that you had asked this question because the next choice I was going to show falls into this question. So these two, I'm going to do another two for here.
Yep.
One of them is rap music, and the other one is reggae. But when I'm talking about rap, I would like to get into more like the NWA, the gangster rap. It's something that when I was going into my teens, there is no way, even as cool as my parents were, there is no way that I ever would have been able to listen to NWA on my my cassette player with them around, right? So I think gangster rap would be a genre that I would appreciate, but once again it's a tough one. But I do have a reissue of Cypress Hill's Black Sunday, and this is probably of all the rap albums I've ever heard. This one and Snoop Dogg, the one with Gin and Juice and stuff, his one of his first ones there. They're really good albums. And I remember this one because funny enough, my dad liked this.
Yeah.
And this has got a gatefold. I'm not going to show the gatefold because you never know when we might do a gatefold one. So that one's for you, Curtis, because I know that you've toyed around with rap, but I also know, and I can't remember if it was this band or a different one, but you're definitely on a reggae thing. And I got this for free. I didn't even buy this. Somebody was like, I'm getting rid of all these records. They're on a table at the end of my driveway. I'm going to leave them out there for about an hour, and it's first come, first serve. And I found this, and I found two Black Uhuru albums. I got them all for free.
Nice.
And they're all in really good condition. And so I don't know if this is the kind of album I would want to start somebody on reggae with, but it is pretty palatable. It's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's not Bob Marley or anything like that. It's definitely more I don't want to call it aggressive. I would call it more like world reggae, would you say?
Yeah, I can see that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a really cool looking cover too. Like I just like that cover. It's a neat looking cover. I don't think that this band had any major hits, and at least not outside the Caribbean, but I could see why it would be a very popular reggae type deal. So yeah, I think that those are two genres specifically, reggae and gangster rap, that I can get into that. I think at some point. What am I going to have like hundreds of records of it in my collection? Probably not, but I could get by with quite a few. And I want to get Bob Marley's Legend and stuff like that because I don't have it, and I know that I had a high school teacher that used to listen to that all the time, and it's really good stuff. So
yeah, Legend's a great place to start. If you're just getting your toes wet into reggae. Third World's great. They've got a decent catalog. That's one of their first ones. They're in the first three. That cover, there's a series of covers. So the artist I can't remember his name. He did a lot of those island covers. Like what's his name? Steve Winwood, Diver.
The Ark of a Diver.
Yeah, same artist did that cover. Bob Marley's Natty Dread album. The B-52s, the album cover that I think of first when I think of the B-52s. But that particular album cover tells a story. There's 3 albums in a row. So that one I think is they're on the donkey. So they're leaving Babylon towards Zion on that cover. And so there's a series of 3. The next one that might be their first one. Then the next one they're like on the boat, and then they get to like Paradise and the third album cover kind of thing. So it's kind of a neat little progression of album covers there.
So you're an awesome guy. So I know kind of the answer to this, but if there is a reggae snob out there, and the general public, for lack of the proper term, goes, oh, I know who Bob Marley is, I like Bob Marley, there's no harm to that, to Bob Marley being the only reggae artist that a person knows, correct? Right?
Absolutely. I don't find any problem with that. That's
no
start with the best, in my opinion.
Right. And that's like saying, for someone to go, oh, you just know Bob Marley. That's like saying, oh, you just know Jimi Hendrix. You'll only like rock and roll, or you like rock and roll and you only know. Yeah, he just happens to be the biggest star of the genre. So I've come across a couple of guys go, well, yeah, all you know is Bob Marley. Well, A, that's not all I know, but B, even if it was, who cares? It's good. It doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, so there you go. That's
and you have to have a starting point. You have to have a base. So you go with something that you've heard of. Like, it's pretty tough to try to convince somebody, hey, you need to try to listen to this, and they're like, who the hell are you talking about? Whereas if you give them something that they might be familiar with first, and then get them involved,
yeah, it's
a better option. There's nothing wrong with that.
Does a great cover of Now That We've Found Love. I don't know who the original singer is. It's a rhythm and blues, maybe a disco-y kind of thing, but it's a pretty good cover.
Yeah.
98 Degrees in the Shades, another great song that they do. Yeah. And as for gangster rap, well, I could go on there too, because that was one of my first loves. When I fell in love with music in the 90s, I guess. Gangster rap just grabbed me, and you're right there. I couldn't play it on my stereo. I had to put my headphones on, my Walkman.
I was old enough at that point that I didn't have to get permission from anybody. I didn't listen. I honestly didn't listen to a lot of it. I've come around on some of it. It's not my main genre by any means, but I also have. I don't know if I had disdain for it or if I was just playing the typical, kind of middle-aged white guy. Well, why do I want to listen to that crap? That's not rock and roll. I don't think that's my attitude towards it. I just didn't find a lot that appealed to me, but much more does now. Much like I never used to listen to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all those guys. And as I've matured and as I've aged, and I've said this many times before, I love that stuff now. So we all come around to certain things. Now, I still am not going to sit down and listen to a polka record. That's never going to do anything for me. And neither is a lot of classical, to be honest. I appreciate it. And man, it sounds great on a really good system. But that doesn't do it for me much. I'll listen to a little bit of it. But yeah, there's some stuff that a person comes back around to, I think, and or as we age, mature a little bit, we come around to it.
I think a lot of it too has to do with relatability. Like when you talk about rap and we talk about reggae, depending on your social upbringing, the themes within their music we may not be able to relate to, right? Because there are topics that we just don't experience that people that listen to that type of music or have grown up within that culture, it might be more relatable to them, right?
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
I think for some people, the reason they don't listen to certain genres is it's just not relatable within their culture or their lifestyle.
Yeah, no, that's the thing exactly. So, much like I guess a little bit of both of you guys, not so much because you're more on the jazzy funk side. I was going to say my answer to this question is jazz because again, that's another genre that I just did not listen to a lot of. And yeah, I'm using the example of the biggest name ish in jazz as well as I show an album, but pretty fantastic album as well. So, but that's something that I've tried to get into a little bit more. I don't know for sure that I am the hard bop guy. I don't think I'm ever going to be that guy. I don't think. I sure like a lot of it though, and I think again it's maybe that. The Herbie Hancock, the Stanley Clark-ish stuff a little bit. I do like to listen to Miles. I like to listen to John Coltrane. Obviously, whether I like to listen, I like the music I don't know if I like the music because I think I'm supposed to like the music, or I just like the music, because sometimes that plays into it a little bit as well. But this album, I mean, this album is unbelievable. There's the gatefold, because we show the gatefolds, other than when we don't show the gatefold because we're saving it. But there's some fantastic, beautiful artwork as well. But yeah, this is an artist that, again, in my 20s, why am I listening to that? In my 30s, yeah, maybe. In my 40s and my 50s, I'm not quite into my 60s yet. Coming around to it. Again, there's lots of good stuff. I like Dave Brubeck. I like that style a little bit more. And then you talk about Buddy Rich is a jazz guy, and I love to listen to Buddy on the drums and stuff like that. That's always fantastic as well. But that's kind of because I think I listen to a little bit of everything. Again, I talked a bit about the fact I didn't listen to a lot of rap, and I still don't. I've got Eminem. I've got Tupac. I've got, again, some of the mainstays of. I've got NWA. I've got Salt and Pepper. I've got some of that stuff. But to give you, I mean, Curtis, you could probably say 10 names, and I probably haven't heard of them. So again, I've kind of got the big names in the genre, but that's what I'm starting with. And then if it really appeals to me and it really clicks with me, then I'll go further down that rabbit hole, I suppose, right? Run DMC, that's the other one I was trying to think of, Reverend Run and Company. So it's all good stuff. And Run DMC, I was listening to Run DMC before Aerosmith. I honestly was. That just came as a bit of a surprise down the line. So, but
yeah, the unfortunate thing with my rap hip hop collection is it was all on CD, and I got rid of most of it in the moves, and so my vinyl rap collection is really, really tiny. But it's just like the I need to have that album kind of thing that I'd add in. So
yeah,
I still have I still have a bit of CDs around, but a lot of them just got lost. They're in CD wallets and things. And
sure, yeah, exactly. They're stuck underneath the seat of a car you sold 2 or 3 cars ago, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. I don't have another question. Well, I probably do. I could probably come up with something, but let's just freeform for a while. We've got, I don't know, if we stay on time, even though we started late, we've got at least 40 minutes, and we've probably all got a whole shitload of albums to show still. So let's just have at her here and show 1, 2, however many you like. Curtis, you go. You're up, I believe. Okay. Yeah, you're up.
I'm gonna go back to Thrift Find fairly recently, and this is one of those albums I picked up because I have another album in the series, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll get this one. So I'll show the first album that I picked up in the series first, I guess. So this is, it's a compilation. I'll take it out of the thing so it's not so. So it's just an Atlantic collection from Atlantic. This is volume 7 and 8, Rhythm and Blues. So, and then I found at the thrift store this one.
I think I've got that, or one of the volumes, maybe at the shop. I'd have to double check for sure, but I think that was in that large collection that we bought a little while ago. So.
Yeah, and it's like this is volume 3, so rock and roll on Atlantic from what's this, 56 to 57. So really the very early birth of rock and roll, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's on here? Let me look here. The Robins, the Clovers, the Drifters. The Drifters are probably the only, well, like the Coasters I recognize as well.
Yeah.
Clyde, McFadder, Chuck Willis. So yeah, just the foundations of rock and roll. It's and I picked it up because hey, I recognize that cover. I recognize that series. I've got one of those.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not pick up the volume 3? So now I'll need to pick them all up.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for you because, like I said, I might have one. I'll have to look and see if we've got something in that series at the shop. So.
But I really, really enjoyed this one here. This is a double LP, well, 7 and 8. This is Japanese with the obi, but It was packaged in Japan as a 2 LP set for some reason.
Cool.
But this got all the really great soul stuff that I love. You know, your Otis Reddings and your it's all in Japanese, so I can't actually read it. Wilson, this is Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, Booker T and the MGs, all that stuff that I just really, really love. So this was a great find. So
that's great.
This is more discovery, right? I don't know any of this, so it's like, oh, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, you never know. And then what's nice about that too is if you found something by maybe someone you don't rightly recognize on there, and they probably made 5 or 6 albums, and if you like it, you're probably going to be able to go out and you're going to be able to find them at a reasonable price, right? I think it's usually the way that it works is there were some guys, they had that one hit and then they still made 5 or 6 albums. But if you didn't necessarily hear the hit at the time, but you've come across it in the future, it's kind of nice to be able to go back and maybe pick up some of their other albums if you find that you enjoy their music along the way. So good stuff. Excellent. I love all that Sam and Dave and Otis and all of that stuff. I've always loved that stuff. And I'm not sure where that came from because that I didn't get from my parents. I'm not sure. I saw something somewhere and it's been ingrained in me for a long, long time of all of that great stuff. Sam and Dave, maybe it was the Blues Brothers. I don't know. Cause the Blues Brothers, I think maybe turned a lot of people on to a lot of that earlier stuff, you know, with Soul Man and things like that. And that might've been a little bit of a part of it. So plus
for myself, I honestly think it was through rap and hip hop, because a lot of the samples and things are coming from that era of music. Yeah. And so the vibe in a lot of that goes back to this stuff. So when I started listening, it sounds familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I recognize a lot of it. So
yeah. Like Apache's in so many. How many songs is that in? So sorry, Daryl, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My phone's about to die. I'm going to go get my charger. Excuse me a moment.
I've always liked the R&B there, where it, like with the bands that he was talking about, the Drifters and the Coasters and stuff like that, how it becomes the doo-wop stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've talked about this with the Platters. Like the Platters are, for me, one of the best doo-wop bands ever. Mm-hmm. But maybe I'm biased just because my grandpa had all their stuff. But
I agree. Yep.
It is a forgotten. There is no doubt that R&B, that series that he has, that mid to late 50s stuff, it's almost becoming a forgotten, I think, genre.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure exactly where it may be cut off, because there's guys like us. So we'll say 40 to 60. We'll say that range where that's a little nostalgic for us, kind of. But there's probably not a lot of 20-year-olds that are listening to the Platters and the Drifters and the Ronettes and all the girl groups and and even a lot of the Motown stuff, right? But it's such fantastic stuff. It's just exposing, I guess, getting exposed, and that's maybe where, you know, where shows like this, if there's younger people are watching, that maybe that helps. Of course, we pass it on to our kids. I know that my kids listen to a lot of hardcore. My oldest son listens to the blackest, darkest metal that you can listen to. And Riley, who's over there, you know, he's a little more alternative and things like that. But, you know, I think that they have an appreciation for that stuff because it got passed along from me, and I got that a little bit from my dad and my mom, and a little bit from mom number 2 as well. But so
it's funny you talk about like the darkest, blackest metal. I was watching YouTube with my wife earlier, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the Butcher Babies. It's like a
probably, but yeah,
death metal kind of band. They've Come to Take Me Away by the Napoleon.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That one-hit wonder thing, and it's so funny, like how it was this weird, bizarre song in the 60s. It's this death metal-y female growling vocal stuff. It was so weird.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And you know, I mean, obviously, being a Kiss fan, being an Alice Cooper fan, like the shock stuff doesn't phase on me in any way, shape, or form. But some of the covers are just unbelievable. Like, I don't care. It's art and it is what it is. But just some of the covers for like Cannibal Corpse and all of that stuff, I'm just not quite sure, but it is what it is. So
they're pretty grotesque. There's something you could like hang up in your driveway on Halloween and the kids would run away.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit. So I don't know if we've lost him completely, but we've lost Curtis. But it's your turn anyway. So you are up, my friend. Oh, here we go. He's coming back. And we'll add him back. He's back. But you're still up. So nice to have you back. He got his phone
So
out.
earlier you did your Donna's thing. And you talked about how you bought like a whole series of them. For me, it's kind of the same up here where, like you said, the shipping, it's 25, $30, whether you buy 1, 5, whatever it might be, right? And so I would argue that my favorite grunge band of all time, it's not Nirvana, it's not Soundgarden, but I've mentioned them before, and that's Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
And I bought 3 of them all at the same time to save on the shipping. And I mean, they're all reissues, but it's great stuff. My favorite is definitely the Jar of Flies EP. To me, this is a near perfect EP. I can't flaw a single song that's on here. Everything from acoustic to, I mean, there's some dark topics that are on there, but I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, that's what Lane was thinking in his brain of what his life was right at that time. But if you want to go really dark, Alice in Chains, I mean, you got to go with Dirt, or not Dirt. Which one's this? Facelift. I mean, this is some pretty intense stuff on here, right? Man in the Box, We Die Young. Those are the big ones. Bleed the Freak, right? Just it goes to show what his mindset was at. And then Dirt, which is probably my second favorite one. This is the one that has Rooster on it. But there's a song that's on here called Sick Man. And that's exactly where he was at. Like, he was so into the heroin by this point that it was just killing him. But Rooster, Angry Chair is fantastic. I could listen to Alice in Chains, no problem. I know it's not for everyone, but my favorite grunge band by far. I'll take Lane over Kurt any day.
Yeah. It's tough because, you know, we just talked about like the Drifters and the Platters and that, and there's no darkness in any of that music, in any of those lyrics, and that's fantastic. No. And that's great. And then we transition into something like an Alice in Chains, and that is its own poetic and its own version of, as you said, of what Lane and others were going through at the time. So there's times and places, and there was back in the day where they were blaming bands for kids committing suicide and things like that. But music is music. And I mean, we can listen to a little bit of everything, and it can either keep us level, it can maybe bring us up, maybe it can bring us down sometimes a little bit as well. So it's all very important, but I'm not sure if I have an exact point, but I know where I'm.
No, I think what you're saying is that like with the Drifters and all that kind of stuff, they were coming out of a time period where the Second World War had just ended. You've got, obviously, with R&B and music like that, especially 50s jazz, and you look at Billie Holiday and stuff that were coming out, they were dealing with more human rights stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess the angriness from this has to do with not societal, but just their own inner demons, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll even see that with music today, depending on what the themes are. And I think, you had talked about, politicians, especially in the 80s, blaming Twisted Sister and blah, blah, blah. Sure. I think as much as he is definitely one of the biggest dicks in music these days, Marilyn Manson, But when he was interviewed for Bowling for Columbine, in my opinion, I mean, he made a good point. It's not, his music isn't putting the gun in a kid's hand.
Yeah.
He's not telling people to go kill people. That's not
No.
what music, unless I guess there's some subliminal message in the song that's like, go kill someone, but that's just not how it is, right?
No,
Music
right.
is music and people are people.
Yeah.
And you got to distinguish the two.
Sometimes Joe and I are driving in the car, and although she likes a lot of alternative from the 90s as well, but every once in a while she goes, man, you listen to a lot of depressing music. And then I try and remember or remind her, yeah, but I'm also a massive fan of the Beatles and a lot of the bands that we just talked about as well. So you just have to listen to it all and take it all in and enjoy it all as it comes. So yeah.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit here, and I'm gonna show something that I listened to death in the 1970s when it came out, which would have put me in my formative teen years, and I'm not sure that I should have been, but I was, and that is Cheech and Chong's "Up in Smoke" album.
You know, I came this close to taking a Cheech and Chong album out tonight. I was this close.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's just, you know, it's a hilarious movie. It's a fantastic album, and there's some great songs on it still, because War is one of my favorite. There's some jazzy funk for you a little bit, Curtis. War.
There you go.
But I listened to this, and I mean, I could probably, not so much anymore, but verbatim I could say it. And the same goes for Bob and Doug's album. The same goes for Steve Martin's album. Comedy albums back in the day, comedians didn't travel around. There was no HBO back in the olden days. To hear comedians do their stuff, it was on an album. Now this is, I mean, these guys are comedians. They've got a documentary coming out. That's going to be my recommendation to Chris this week, is the Cheech and Chong documentary that is not out yet, but is coming. But you know, again, this Steve Martin, I listened to that over and over. Richard Pryor and the black folks buying the haunted house from Amityville Horror, and or something along, you know, I don't know if he actually said that was the house, but is just one of the best bits. But all that stuff back in the day, and I love stand-up as much as I love music, you had to hear on an album. And then, but it didn't matter. You listened to it like a song, like Steve Martin's, you know, the Nonconformist Oath. I can still recite the Nonconformist Oath from Steve Martin. But this is a hilarious album. It's a good movie. I didn't know your name was Alex, man. I mean, it's just great. And there's the boys, Tommy Chong, the good Canadian kid from Vancouver, and Cheech Marin, born in East LA. So
you know, every time I see stuff like that, we've talked about McLean and McLean too from Canada. McLean and McLean is one of those things, because it came out around the year that I was born. Yeah, I have that. Well, I don't have that one. Which one is that? Is that the Take the O Out of Country?
Toilet Rock.
Toilet Rock.
Toilet Rock.
So
yeah.
Every time I see McLean and McLean, I always think, what would it have been like to be sitting in a bar or a tavern in the late 70s with all the smoke in the crowd, listening to these guys sing their country music comedy stuff? I'd love to go back to just witness that, because I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah. Red Fox is, you know, I mean, one of the OG for sure. But Richard Pryor, again, Robin Williams, I could recite that almost verbatim as well. It's just that's the way you got to not see the stand-up, but you could kind of see Steve Martin. You could kind of see, I mean, Cheech and Chong had the movie to go with it, but you could kind of see some of the comedians, because there'd be some stills of them walking around on the stage, and you kind of had them in your mind. So yeah, lots of fun. I don't know the last time that I listened to it, but I'm gonna now. I think actually after we're done the show, I think I might put it on and or watch the movie. But I'm looking forward to the documentary, because they're still around. They're still kicking. I'm not sure how much weed they're doing still, but supposedly Cheech was never much into it, or Chong was not into it. I can't remember. One of them, anyway. I'm sure they were, but anyway, it was good.
Cheech and Chong's wedding album, that white one, the wedding album, is the first album I remember where my dad put it on and he went, "Shh, don't tell your mother."
Yeah. Dave, no, Dave's not here. No, man, idiot. Anyway, it's just fun stuff. It's almost, for me, have to be around the right type of friends, but it's almost like, as much as a lot of people will quote The Simpsons, I quote a lot of the Cheech and Chong albums and stuff like that. So, and Beer Hunter, and yeah. Anyway, just fun stuff, just good stuff. So, Curtis, you're up. We got some time still, so you are up again. Again, dealer's choice, whatever you like, anything you like.
Okay. Adam Sandler's album was big for me when I was growing up.
Duck and Goat, man. I love that. That whole Toll Booth Willie. I'm coming out of the booth. Yeah, I know.
That was one I played a lot.
I think that was a funny one. Yeah.
All right, let's see. What am I going to go with here? Well, here's not a very strange one, but I recently I'm in a new space. I moved downstairs. I'm in the basement now.
You're in the basement. Good.
I was confined to a closet. I was in the closet, so to speak, with my music collection, and now I've got a space downstairs. And so as I was moving down, I was putting up some posters and things, my Zeppelin posters. Yeah, and I realized I hadn't listened to this album in a while, and so this was on the turntable recently. When I don't know why when I reached for the Zeppelin stuff, this was the album Into the Outdoor, right?
Yeah, Into the Outdoor. Yep.
That I just tend not to reach for very often, but it does have one of my favorites, I guess, Zeppelin tunes. Probably not many people's favorite, but I just love "Fool in the Rain." You know what I mean? It's just I guess it's just so groovy.
I have no issues with that album whatsoever. I have no idea why it gets shit on. I guess because it's not 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Right. Yeah.
But I love that album. It's fantastic. And speaking of artwork, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what version this is. I don't know. How many versions were there? 4 or 6?
No, there was 6, and it says on the side, I think that's E, maybe. Like if you look on the spine right at the top, maybe.
It's a little war at the top, so I'm looking at.
Yeah, that might be E. I'm not sure, but yeah, there was 6, and basically each one was from someone in the picture's perspective, right? Like one, the guy at the bar, it's his perspective. Yeah. And they all came in the brown paper bag, so you didn't know what you were getting. So I don't know how many
brown paper bag. But so just to go along with my Zeppelin photos here, it's actually a what would you call those? Like a zine, I guess, a fan. It's called boot pressing. It's a Japanese thing. They catalog all the Led Zeppelin bootlegs.
Cool. That's awesome.
They came out. I don't know how often they came out, but I found I just really like the images on it. So I was like, I'm gonna pick up one of those.
There you go. See, and Richard's on our side as well. So, yeah, I noticed that yours. Hello, Ryan. Nice to see you. I noticed that your inner sleeve was also not colored. A lot of those got colored, but yours didn't look like it had been colored. That's the other thing for those that are watching and are not aware. If you take water and you color that sleeve, it turns color.
Oh, okay. So I did not know that actually. And there is a small spot right here.
Yeah.
Where it is colored, and I thought it was water damaged. But
nope.
That's supposed to be like that.
Yeah, it's not water damaged, but it's water
someone tested it
altered. It's water altered. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Oh, look at that! I learned something.
Yeah, it was one of those. Zeppelin was pretty good between Physical Graffiti, right, with all the different stuff going on, and then on 3 with the wheel and things like that. So yeah, Zeppelin had some stuff going on with their albums, but I like that album. I mean, "Fool in the Rain" is fantastic. All of My Love, it's just good. It's not rock and roll. It's not, Black Dog. It's not that for sure, but it's still good.
It doesn't have quite the punch that some other Zeppelin's albums have.
Yeah,
but it's still fantastic.
I think that's I would compare that possibly for me anyway, that is the most Zeppelin album when Robert Plant went out on his own that compares to his stuff, I think, a little bit more, like 29 Palms and all of his solo stuff. So maybe he had a little bit more influence on that than Page did at the time or something. So not sure, but that's all hearsay and rhetoric on my part. On my Pink part, I did figure out eventually, I forgot, Chris was talking about my stupid beard, which I haven't shaved in a couple of weeks. I was on holidays. I don't have to shave. Even when I'm at work, I don't have to shave. Anyway, I digress.
Every time I see that cover, though, that Led Zeppelin cover, some reason, was there an album where they had did like the cover was like a paint by numbers thing? For some reason in my mind, I thought I'd seen something like that before.
Well, that's that inside cover. So it wasn't so much paint by numbers, but if you took a brush and made it wet.
So it's just that. It's not an actual, like, for some reason in my mind, I thought there was another band that actually did. They actually did the cover was like a paint by numbers or the inner sleeve. I could be wrong.
No, maybe the Who had an album where it was Connect the Dots. I don't remember which one, but the Who had that. So yeah, there was some great.
Imagine trying to find like an OG of that was not connected, like somebody left the dots.
Nope, they're not out there. So okay, we've got as much time as you guys want because we were a little late. So I'm gonna go, and then we'll go around once more or twice more, whatever. It's late for you guys. It's only 7:45 for me. Well, 10 to 8. So being a good Saskatchewan kid. So, but we'll go for a little more. You guys good still?
I'm good. My kids are off to bed, so I'm free.
You're okay for a little bit? Cool.
Yeah.
We still got some people watching, so what the heck? Let's go. Here's a band that I don't know. I don't think gets talked about a whole bunch in the VC. Now, arguably, I don't watch that many videos. I try and watch what I can. But there are a shitload of Beatles channels, and maybe it's just because I listen to them a little bit more than these guys, but these guys don't seem to get, I don't know, maybe it's me. The Stones just don't seem to get talked about that much. And I don't know if that's a true statement or not. It's probably complete bullshit, and someone will go, Joe, there's hundreds and hundreds of Stones channels. But, as I look through my subscriptions, there was more than one Beatles, and then there was McCartney, someone was talking about, and George Harrison was someone was talking about. These guys I don't hear a lot about them. This is an original UK Zipper, Sticky Fingers, Andy Warhol. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, are you guys Stones fans? I'm a Stones fan. I'm not as big of a Stones fan as I am of a Beatles fan. If we're to compare those two for some reason, I don't know why I'm doing that other than it gets done a lot, I think, just because they were kind of two of the OGs along with, the Who and the Zeppelins and stuff like that. But I don't know. Even at the store, as an example, Beatles albums come in and they go out fairly quickly. I have a nice thick stack of a bunch of really good, nice Canadian first pressed Rolling Stones albums that just don't go. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. Are you guys Stones fans?
I love the Stones. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more of a Stones fan than a Beatles fan, so I'm on the other side.
Yeah.
And I actually really like I know that some people shit on it, but I really like the Hackney Diamonds album. I don't know. I guess the guys are like almost 100 years old, but
I don't know. I listened to that again a little while ago because someone had mentioned it somewhere. It's a good album. Does it hold its own against stuff like Sticky Fingers and Some Girls and things like that? Not necessarily. But it's a pretty damn decent album for the 50th album in their career or whatever. I know that's a bit of a stretch. Not really. They have a whole bunch of albums. But I agree, Daryl. It's a decent album. And I don't know if people were just poo-pooing it because, it's just the Rolling Stones and they're just trying to make money. Well, they're not trying to make money. They've got all they need, I'm pretty sure. I think Mick will probably be okay. He could get divorced 2 or 3 more times and still have enough to get by, I think. But, and they were bringing in some new artists.
I think the reason maybe some people thought they were trying to make money off of it is because they got all those pressings of all the different baseball teams, MLB teams.
Yeah.
Which I almost bought the Blue Jays one.
Did you? Yeah.
I considered it.
Yeah, but every
But
artist.
the Hackney Diamonds, the original cover is way nicer than the ball game ones.
Than the baseball one. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, obviously, the queen right now of vinyl sales, Taylor, she does multiple copies and multiple album covers and multiple copies of album covers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's marketing. It's always going to be that. Do we all need to have 20 versions of an album? No, but you know what? If people are going to buy them, then that's the case. And some bands used to do it and then get shit for it. Well, you're just trying to get everybody's money. And then there's a lot of artists now that if they don't, people are questioning it. Like that was one of the first questions at the store was how many different versions of the new Taylor Swift album in October are there going to be? And it's like, I have no idea. I'm not sure. But yeah, so the roundabout long version to your statement is I like Happy Diamonds. I'm a squirrel sometimes. Wee, there we go.
Speaking of Taylor, how many of you? So I was listening to Sirius Radio on the drive home, and they were talking about Taylor Swift because they haven't advertised who's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
How many of you think that Taylor will be the feature singer at the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was rumored that it was going to be last year as well, right? She came up numerous times. I don't know. I think a little bit of the shine has gone off performing at halftime at the Super Bowl a little bit, right, in the last while. So, but I mean, there's been some big artists. What's that?
Has she done it before? Has she performed in Super Bowl?
I want to say no. I don't believe so, unless she's been a special guest. I don't think she's ever been the artist, right?
I can't remember. I know gangster rappers did it a few years ago. Snoop Dogg and a few others were on.
Yeah,
that was Snoop. I know everybody hated that. I thought it was amazing.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Me and my wife only turned the game on for that halftime show, and then we shut the game off again.
And I thought Kendrick did an amazing job too. I had to rewatch it like multiple times to get all the messaging that was in it and things.
Yeah.
It was like
50 Cent was in that too, was he not? Right? I think wasn't
so,
he part of that? Yeah. So yeah, one of my all-time favorites is Lady Gaga at halftime. I thought she crushed it. But the greatest, and there never will be a better one, is Prince playing Purple Rain in the rain. That will always be the greatest for me, anyway. For my dollar's worth, the greatest halftime show of the Super Bowl. So,
well, they brought up Janet Jackson and the little incident too.
Yes.
That it's been, what has it been? When was that? 2004? It's been like 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
The original wardrobe malfunction. There was plenty before that. They just came up with a word for it when that happened to her. So, yeah. Glenn, if the Chiefs are not in the Super Bowl, here, let me put it up there. If the Chiefs are not, she might be at the Super Bowl. Might be weird. Yeah, possibly. So they got a wedding to plan, though. So. Yeah, let's see what else. That's it. The Stones. I just don't think they get mentioned a whole bunch, or at least, and I'm bad for it too. I don't talk about them much either. So, one more round. We good for another one?
Yeah,
I can go another.
All right, Curtis. Then you are up, my friend. Yeah,
I'll do a couple then. How's that?
Right. Yeah, whatever you like. Let's do 2 more rounds. So do whatever you want this time, and then we'll do a speed round after.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll just do one this time. Okay. So, want list. Do you guys keep a want list?
I do. I don't know if I've ever got it written down, and it changes from time to time. But yeah, there's probably 5 that I'll go in when I'm out and about at record shops elsewhere. But I want to find them in the wild still too. They're on Discogs. I just don't want to buy them off of there. So
sure. So yeah, I do the same. I have a top 10 list, and then I have a couple of top 10 lists that are genre specific. So I've got like a top 40 list maybe or something.
Yeah.
But my nephew just bought his first house, and in the basement were a pile of records, and he actually, in the spring of the year, they do, I don't know if this is widely done elsewhere. They do like a heavy garbage pickup in our community. So he put the records out at the curb because he's not into records and didn't know that I was. And it rained, and someone told him, "Oh, you should take those back in. People like those now." And so he took them back in, and they got moldy and disgusting. But the vinyl itself was okay. So I told him whatever he had, I'd take and see if I could salvage them. And one of my top wanted albums was in there, Moving Pictures.
Nice.
Rush. There was quite a number of Rush albums in there, and I only have maybe 2 Rush albums.
Yeah.
And so I cleaned it up. This was probably the one that was in the best shape. Of all of them. So I started with this one. There's a load of AC/DC in there, which is great there. Joe, I know you're a big AC/DC fan. So the front cleaned up a little bit better than the back. But I can smell it already. Like it smells musty. But I'm saving culture here. I'm saving musical history.
That's right.
But again, like that other album with the big chunk out of it, the record's in pretty good shape. It's got a few hairline scratches and things, but overall, decent shape. And so it was nice to pick up one from my want list. Limelight is just such a killer tune, man. Tom Sawyer. So for me, I like the more rocking side of this, the less progressive side, maybe the less proggy side of this album. I find the B side a little bit more progressive rock.
I agree with that. True. Yep. Yeah.
Little less my flavor, perhaps, but still fantastic album on my want list. Glad to add it to my collection. I had to work pretty hard. I've got some before and after photos. I thought I'd do a little video of the whole thing, but it's a lot of work. So I've only done the one so far.
I think at least the 3 of us are in the camp of the covers are the covers are the covers. If the vinyl's good, the covers are the covers, I think, right? Because I've certainly always been that way. Of course, I'll take a pristine cover, but if I find a record, especially one on my want list, and it plays, the cover is the cover. It'll get, hopefully I'll find another one somewhere down the line where the vinyl will be shit or whatever, right? So, I always take them if you find them, and especially if they're on your list, pick them up. So,
like you talk about that. You talk about that one kind of had the mold and all that on it. I had a friend. He retired a couple of years ago, and he had a bin just full of records that his parents used to have, and they had a fire in their basement, I guess, and got some water damage and all that kind of stuff. He brought all the stuff up here. It had just been sitting in a bin for 15 years. And he was like, "Hey, I know you collect records. I'm just going to give you the bin." And I was going through it, and then I realized at a certain point, like some of it was just probably like the most toxic stuff in the world. But then I did get some pretty good stuff out of it. I'm not we all know I'm not into disco, but there was a few disco records that were in there and trucker music from the 1970s. And it was really good. Good condition, just a good wipe down. And it was fine. I got no issue with that. And it's part of the fun.
I'll always take a good Donna Summer record. I don't care if the record's even on the inside. I'm just there for the cover. But Donna was very good at what she did as well. She was the queen of disco, and I enjoyed. So, all right, D, you're up, man. Go.
You know what I realized, Joe? I realized that in the last round that it went Curtis and then you. I totally realized that. I was just sitting here listening to the stories, and then no, it's all good. I realized that, so I'm going to do a double. That's
in Rob's honor of screwing it up once. That's in Rob's honor. So no, do whatever. You were talking about the Rolling Stones and how you find like there really aren't that many Rolling Stones channels and stuff, and this band here I'm going to show. I bought it off Discogs only because I don't mind supporting certain stores that are on Discogs. Yeah,
I've actually
don't get
got
me
some really
wrong.
good
I
deals
don't.
off of there, and the they might not be local because I'm not there locally, but I'm supporting, I guess, local by Discogs.
Yeah. Oh no, don't get me
For
wrong. I
whatever
don't have an
reason,
issue
I
with
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
You hardly ever see Foreigner ever talked about. I mean, I'm not saying people don't talk about it, and especially their later 80s, early 90s. And I know that in the 2000s they had done an album which I thought was really good, but nobody talks about them. Um, but Lou Gramm and Company is just amazing.
Yep.
And this is a later one. What year is this? 1987. With the promo stamp on it, of course. Gotta love the do not sell. It's a promo. Don't sell this copy.
Yep.
But this is the one that has "Say You Will" on it, and I love that song. I think "Say You Will, Say You Won't." It's a good song, and I don't know why Foreigner, the band, Lou Gramm and Company. I don't know why people don't talk about them more because I think that they're a fun band.
I agree. I mean, I guess I don't know if they've fallen out of favor or because they're still playing, right? It's not Lou, although I think they talked about him coming back and he's out on his own. But I've always been a Foreigner fan. You're right,
Mhm.
though. The last couple of albums, or I guess the last 3 albums, get a lot of grief, right? Up to up to 4, everybody loved them, and then all of a sudden they do
Yeah.
some kind of ballady stuff, and everybody thinks, well, that's shitty. Well, that's still Foreigner, right?
But I think, and that's the problem with a lot of the 80s stuff is that those bands, I mean, that's what their managers and that's what the companies were telling them to do was
Yeah,
ballad stuff. You look at Motley Crue, you look at Queensryche, you look at Guns N' Roses even, they're all doing ballads that everybody likes, but then they get crapped on because that's not metal music or that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Metallica's got to be the worst one with the Black Album, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, for
And
sure.
so funny. And another band that I don't think I've ever seen
Mhm.
ever talked about in the VC is the Blow Monkeys out of the UK. Do you remember these guys,
The name
Curtis
sounds
or Joe? They
familiar.
they did a song called "Digging Your Scene." Um, you would probably know it to hear it. One hit wonders. I think they were more famous in the UK and Scotland, but I remember I don't know what it was, just driving around with my dad late 80s and hearing them on the radio. And I don't know, it's kind of cool. And this one here, I know when I got this. I got this. Sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this. I got this when I bought this.
Yeah, no, you do that all you want, man.
This is a
That-
this is a Spanish press of
yeah,
this album. So I thought it was pretty funny. I had to throw this out there because I got them at the same time. But no, if you haven't heard "Digging Your Scene" by the Blow Monkeys, it's a pretty cool song. I like it. It's like it's not synth pop. It's like pop. They call it sophistopop. Is what they
Sophistopop.
call it.
I think that's the first time I've heard that one. Sophisticated pop. So I
Yeah,
guess the sophist and the sophisticated is sophist. I don't know. So well, there you go.
yeah. So I thought I'd throw those out there. I mean, like I said, Luke. I don't know why people don't like. I like. Speaking of Foreigner too, going back to Foreigner, like Lou Gramm's solo stuff. I love his solo stuff,
Yeah,
but a
yeah.
lot of people
Midnight Blue
don't.
and all that. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed for sure. I listened to. I don't have any pulled out, but talking about guys, and I think did we not? Yeah, I think we did an episode of guys that went out on their own. But I listened to Tommy Shaw's "Girls with Guns" the other day too, and that was definitely not Styx music for sure, but it was good. Tommy's done a lot of stuff. Damn Yankees as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go, and then we'll get back into order, and then we'll do a last round after me. Is that fair? Or
Oh yeah.
I
No, no,
apologize. I
this
didn't.
this could be the last round if you want it to be, or the second last round, whatever
Okay.
works.
Well,
I've
I'll
got like I think I've got like 6 or 7 records here still sitting in front of me. So whatever.
well, although we're not at the top of the hour, we're only at an hour and 49 minutes. Let's do. Well, we'll just play it by ear. I'm gonna do one, and then we'll go from there. How's that sound? Okay. Let's make me big. Not that that matters, but so here's a band that morphed from an old band that is going out on tour, and that's why I had it pulled out. I also had it pulled out as part of the Anywhere But North America last week. From New Zealand, the band Crowded House obviously
Oh, that's a
started
good
out as
album.
Split Ends. Yeah, great album. Really good album. I listened to this one today, actually. Started out as Split Ends. The members of Crowded House were in Split Ends before, but they're going back out on tour, and I'm not sure exactly how many are left. I think it's at least one of the, well, it has to be one of the Finn brothers for sure, and it might be two of them because there were two in Split Ends, if I remember correctly. I'm not exactly sure the lineup, but Crowded House, and then I'm fairly certain they probably play some of the Split Ends stuff as well. I saw them a long time ago in Calgary. Walter Zwall and the Rage opened up for him. It was a very good show, but yeah, fantastic album. So that was one of mine that reverts back to last week when I was not here, but I had pulled out. I always thought Australia. I always thought Split Ends was Australia, but it's actually New Zealand. And I'm not saying that Australia is New Zealand. Crowded House from New Zealand. And I'm going to now put it back into. Did anybody do the sleeve promo when I wasn't here, Daryl? Did you do it?
I didn't do it. No.
Okay, so for those,
somebody did. I think we did it.
Might have been Sam, maybe.
Right.
Sam.
Yeah, I think we did it. But you sell it better. You sell it better.
Maybe. I don't know about that. So I'm actually going to put this back into one of my vinyl storage solution sleeves because everybody should have, and you should put them in from the top too. I guess it depends which way your bins go. Put them in however you like, but put them in a vinyl storage solutions outer sleeve. This one doesn't have an inner sleeve. Well, it does. It's just on the inside. Get them at vinylstoragesolutions.ca. Use the promo code Northern10. Even though the guy that is Northern10 is not here, you can still use his promo code. Get yourself 10% off. Pick yourself up. Inners, outers. They've got a sale on right now. I think they've got a sale on some of the box set ones. They've actually got a couple of different sales going on. So all joking aside, make sure you go out and get yourself some vinylstoragesolutions.ca storage solutions. There you go. Okay. Curtis, you're up, my friend.
All right. We're doing one more round or two?
Let's do two. What the hell?
Okay.
I got about 8 here. So yeah, let's do 2 more rounds.
Okay.
And they can be of any amount you like in those 2 rounds.
All right. I got 4 left. I'm gonna do 1 and then 3. How's that?
Perfect.
All right. So yeah, so again, these are all records that I've been listening to recently. And it wouldn't be a collection without a little bit of reggae, of course.
Jimmy,
we talked about my love of reggae and building my collection up. And one of the ways that I've been doing it lately is with these kind of Facebook auctions. There's these Facebook groups that I joined lately, and it helps with the shipping because they do like a bulk shipping. So everyone in a certain area draw all the records together. And so I pick them up every month or two. And so this is one that I picked up. Jimmy Cliff, not one of my favorite albums by Jimmy Cliff, but Power in the Glory. He actually won a Grammy for this album. So interestingly, for one of the songs in this album, I think it was Reggae Night, maybe. Or Power and Glory, the title track. One of the two. Janet Jackson, maybe? Or someone like that. Oh my goodness, I'm getting mixed up here now.
was on there with them?
It was on there with them in one of the tracks. Roots Woman is a good tune on here. Like maybe a little bit more poppy reggae in 1983, 83. A little more pop sound to Jimmy here. Not the real rootsy stuff, but enjoyable listen. And yeah, it was it was a cheapie. Who's he with here? Is he what is it? This is on CBS. Columbia.
Okay, yeah.
Columbia, at this time. So yeah, can't go wrong with Jimmy Cliff in my mind. If you're looking for a little upbeat, sunshiny kind of reggae.
Yeah.
there you go.
Perfect. Excellent. Cool. All right. I'm going to go in the proper order this time. So, Daryl, it is your turn.
All right, so I'm gonna do a twofer, and then I'll finish it off with I think a 5 or 6 there.
Sure.
So another genre that I mean I have quite a few albums. I think just because I inherited them from my grandfather, but country music is definitely not a big thing for me. However, I do have a couple of albums. I haven't shown this one in a while. I got this from a Secret Santa gift. Melissa Etheridge's self-titled. This is an amazing album.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. And I don't even want to call it country music because it's not. I don't know. It's maybe country, modern country. It's to me, it's not country. It's I don't know, more country pop, I guess.
Yeah.
But this one has blah, 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 Like the Way You Do or Like the Way I Do. It's a really good album. And I was absolutely shocked when the person that got this for me knew that I like music, but I was like, why did you get me a Melissa Etheridge album? I'm not into that kind of thing. I listened to this thing from start to finish. This is amazing.
Yep.
And I don't think people
argument
talk
for
about
me.
her enough. And she's got a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
And then this one here is something that my dad used to listen to, but Charlie Pride, and I know when you sent me VCLT, Joe, you sent me some Charlie Pride. I like Charlie Pride. This
Yep.
is the one that's got burgers and fries on it. It's a really good song. Reminds me of the movie Breakdown. I think I've told this story before, but if you watch the movie Breakdown with what's his name, Kurt Russell, there's a scene where he goes into this cafe restaurant to look for his wife, and everybody in there, they're a bunch of like hillbillies, and they're not helping him. But on the jukebox playing is Burger and Fries by Charlie Pride. So
yeah.
He's a great singer. There's another song I think called Spiders and no, not Spiders and Snakes. The Snakes Crawl at Night. It's a pretty cool song.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's kind of a hard sell, Charlie Pride, but he's just
but it's good though. Yeah, it's got its place. It's like Kenny Rogers. I don't know how many people admit they like Kenny Rogers, and then they hear The Gambler and they sing every friggin' song. Yeah, no, me too, 100%, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of crap.
Kenny Rogers' greatest hits album, the greatest hits one, is fantastic. Like if you only want one album by Kenny Rogers, go with the greatest hits. Even if you're not a greatest hits guy, man, it's got everything.
And then back to stuff like The Condition I'm In and things like back to the first edition and that. Yeah, it's good stuff. As you said, you probably only need the greatest hits because there was a lot of fluff, and Kenny was selling a lot of records to a lot of people. He's another artist that is in every collection. There's always some for sure in every collection. So, but and Charlie's good. Daydreams About Night Things, right? That was him too. So yeah, it was good stuff for sure. So
yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit here. This is gonna be weird, but what the hell? I am weird. So I'm gonna stand up for a second and I'm gonna point my camera over there. I think if my camera froze now. Of course my camera froze. No, it didn't. Why is because it's not this camera. See, shit, I got two cameras going. Okay, so I'm still back to confused computer time. So these four components here, I don't know how well you can see them, probably not that well. The brand is Revox. There's a lady when we go on holidays. She cat sits for us. She comes over, takes care of the cats and looks after them. Anyway, her mom moved back to town from BC, and she had this equipment and these B&W speakers that probably aren't going anywhere. This stuff I'm selling for her. She asked me to help her out, and I'm selling it for her. So I hooked it all up and tried it all out, and it's some pretty good stuff actually. It's not a Macintosh. It's not the big name, but it was fairly big at the time, and in Sweden it was like a top brand. Anyway, the story is because I don't know if this will be interesting to anybody but me, but I find it interesting. Like I've got all the manuals and everything for it. But I've also got the original bill of sale, and it's from a place called Harry's Hi-Fi. We bought.
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, we bought all the
Ucraft
records.
collection.
Yeah, we bought all the records from Harry, from his wife Pat, actually, because Harry, unfortunately, Vern was his name. He used to work at a place, and there was a Tom and a Dick, and he just became Harry. His actual name was Vern. But anyway, Harry's Hi-Fi. So I've got the original bill of sale, but on the back, it says Small Claims Court, Regina, Saskatchewan. So twofold, I wanted to find out what it's worth because I really don't know. You can look on eBay. Shit sells for what it sells for, things like that. I saw some pretty big numbers, so I was interested just to see, because I want to get a fair price for the lady that I'm selling it for. So I got a hold of Pat of Harry's Hi-Fi, who sold it originally. And I sent her a text and some pictures. She goes, "You got to phone me." So I phone her, and she goes, "Is blah, blah, the lady on here, still alive?" And I said, "Well, that's not who I'm selling it for. I think I'm selling it for the people that bought it from her." And she goes, "Thank Christ, that woman was a bitch." Speak of the dead, ill of the dead. But because what happened is these people bought from Harry and Pat this gear. They took it home back in 1990, and they wanted to bring it back, and they wanted their money back because in between the songs, it made a little bit of noise, which we all know to be the crackle and the pops, right? But they swore up and down that it was the equipment that was making the noise, not the vinyl. So they actually took him to Small Claims Court, and they had lawyers, and Harry was just representing himself. It was like, well, this is bullshit, man. That's not how it works. And they went back and forth for a couple of days, and eventually he actually got from his shop the best equipment that he had in the shop. He took it all down, and he hooked it all up for the judge and played a record, and it made the same sounds as every other record made in between the tracks. And the judge just like threw it out of court. It's like, okay, you people are crazy, and why the hell did you bring this before me and waste my time? And then she goes, and the other thing too is the guy was a fucking Nazi, and she actually said that. That's just the way that Pat talks. So he had Nazi memorabilia in his basement, etc., etc. So I'm calling these my Nazi speakers, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting story that 35 years later, I talked to the original people that sold it and got this whole interesting story. So we talk about that when it comes to the records. We find stuff in the sleeves. I've found stuff in sleeves that I bought before. Love letters. I've never found much money. I found, here's a good drug dealer to buy your dope from or whatever. That was written on a couple of the sleeves, things like that. So, but I thought that was an interesting story. And like I said, 35 years later, I said to Pat, "I'm sorry for bringing it up." And she goes, "No, it's okay. It was a bit, it was a bit stressful at the time, but it was kind of neat that it came kind of full circle. And turns out that it's worth some stuff. And there's a guy coming down from Saskatoon to buy it all on the weekend. So that's why I wanted to show it now. And I'll show 2-3 albums real quick. And then we'll move on to our last round. I'll show these 3 because they all kind of go together. These were 3 that I had pulled out for last week as well. Because again, for those that weren't here, we did not North America. And I kind of had gone with my European metal of the 80s and the 70s. And so I had my Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast out. And I had my Scorpions, Love at First Sting. And I had my Judas Priest and Firepower. All 3 bands still playing, still out there getting it done, and still actually drawing pretty decent crowds. Priest had an album out a couple of years ago. Scorpions are on their 60th anniversary tour or something like that, or 50th, I can't remember. And Maiden's got a whole brand new tour starting up, which will be a bit more of a greatest hits with most of the guys still, not all of them, but most of them. So again, just being lazy because I wanted, if you pull them, you got to show them. So I wanted to show those from last week. So there you go. A little bit of a story of some of the gear and a little bit of what I had ready to go for last week. So
last week there would have been no crossover with those 3 bands. Nobody showed those, and the Scorpions are fantastic.
Scorpions are great. Yeah. I mean, of those 3, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge between those 3. It might be the Scorpions, just based on the song "The Zoo." Just the one song that might just do it for me. Plus, I'm a little pissed at Iron Maiden because when I saw them, they didn't do Aces High or Run to the Hills. So, but I'll go see them again and we'll rectify that. Okay, One more round. What the heck? Because we're just at 2 hours. So let's do one more round. I'm going to show what I've got left. You show whatever you like, and we'll wrap this puppy up. So, Curtis, you are up, my friend.
All right. Okay, so you mentioned I moved downstairs at the records in the listening setup. I still got the turntable upstairs in the living room, so I gotta leave some records upstairs as well for upstairs listening. So these are 3 that I grabbed from upstairs that I've been listening to lately. So these are like I can listen to it anytime. I never get tired of it. Yeah, I've got a couple Bobs up there, Bob Marley, of course, but just the ones I never tire of. And so here's one that sits upstairs in the one box in the living room. Booker T and the MGs, Green Onions. Can put this on whether we're having dinner or I'm washing the dishes or whatever, right? I can listen to this anytime and not get tired of it. Green Onions. This is one I had spinning. Actually, it's still on the turntable upstairs. Black Pumas, first album, debut album, with like Colors, Stay Gold.
I keep thinking that's someone I need to get into. I need to get into them. Yeah.
They're fantastic. Their second album wasn't as strong, that sophomore slump maybe. At least it wasn't for me. It was still a good album. I haven't picked it up yet, but this one particularly, this is the deluxe one, so they do some bunch of covers and like studio tracks and stuff on here. They do a great version of Tracy Chapman's. I should put it this way, I guess. Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. They do a great job with that. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Great version of that. Great. Never get tired of that one. And then this was one that's there. Picked it up last year, I guess. And it is a seasonal one to end on. I'm waiting for season 5. Stranger Things. Great compilation, man, of just 80s tunes, right? It's just pure nostalgia on this, right? It's it's got that Kate Bush song. What's it called? Up the Hill.
Running up the hill.
Up the Hill. Thank you. Master of Puppets is on here. You even get a little bit of reggae on here. You got Past the Dutchie by Musical Youth on here. So it's a great little compilation. California Dreamin'. Spin Me Right Round. You Spin Me Right Round. Just a great compilation, and especially coming up to Halloween in the fall here now. Stranger Things. Can't wait for season
5. Yeah. So I had this conversation. I'll make us equal here. I had this conversation with someone the other day. They questioned the fact that I watched the TV show Wednesday, which is the Addams one, right? The one, right? Which in theory is for teenagers and not 60-year-old guys. But I argue the fact.
Man. I watched the first episode of the most recent season. It was dark, man.
I know, exactly. And it's Tim Burton. So, is it supposed to be kind of the same thing with Stranger Things? Is that supposed to be for a younger crowd? I don't know. It's just good stuff. So I didn't take what they said to that much heart, but you're
my wife's been binging the whole thing. I don't know. I honestly, I've heard more adults talk about that series than I have the teenagers. So I don't know.
No, exactly. But I recommend Wednesday because Burton's got some pretty good stuff going on. So anyway,
my oldest daughter watched the whole first season. I didn't watch any of it, and then the first episode I watched was the one of the new season. I'm like, whoo, that's a little darker. How old are you, man?
I know, exactly. It's good. Like I said, Tim's always been fantastic. So, but there you go, awesome stuff. And I'm looking forward to Stranger Things too. It should be very good. Of course. All the teenagers in Stranger Things are driving up to the lot in their Ferraris and their Lamborghinis right now, but still, that's okay.
Are they even teenagers anymore? I don't know.
I don't think they are. No, I'm pretty sure they aren't. So, okay, Daryl, my friend, you are the main right now.
Oh,
If I think I've got. I'll get you there. There you go.
what do I got? Like 5 or 6 here.
Whatever you
Yeah,
got.
let's finish it
Whatever
up.
you got.
I'll do it. I'll do a quick 5 or 6.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we do a little bit of Canadian heartthrob, 1980s, little Corey Hart.
Yep.
And this is the one I got this when I invaded the record show or record station there. This one has "I Am by Your Side" and it's got the cover of "Can't Help Falling in Love." So
Yep.
that's a good one. It's one of the later '80s releases he did. But if you're into '80s Canadian heartthrobs, I don't talk too much about Mellencamp, but I do have 2 or 3 Mellencamp albums. This is the Lonesome Jubilee, which has "Check It Out," which is probably my favorite Mellencamp song ever. Is "Check It Out." I also like the Authority song, which I can't remember if it's on this one or not. Cherry Bomb's on here. No, Authority
He's got a
song's not
little.
on here.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that doo-woppy going on that, right? Like stuff like Cherry Bomb and things.
Yeah, Cherry Bomb's a great song.
Yeah.
So I don't show too much Mellencamp, but I do appreciate him. I couldn't listen to him all the time. Like if I'm gonna listen to somebody kind of in that realm, it's gonna be Springsteen. It's not gonna be Mellencamp.
Yeah.
I do like Elton John, "Sleeping with the Past." You know what? I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people shit on him in his late '80s stuff, but his late '80s stuff to me is good. This one here, "Sleeping with the Past," it's got "Healing Hands," "Club at the End of the Street," "Sacrifice," and of course, "Sacrifice" was used by that, what's her name, a female artist recently. She kind of used it in her song there. I can't remember
Yeah.
who it was.
Oh yeah. Dua Lipa. Him and Dua Lipa.
Lipa,
Did
yeah.
they do something? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the duo. I've never actually shown this, but I like Wham. Wham's good. This is a great album. And you know what I really liked about George Michael is the fact that later he knew that his partner in crime was kind of, I wouldn't say struggling, but he kind of gave him a lot of royalties
Yeah.
to keep up with this. He
Yeah.
he didn't claim that it was all just him when he became solo. And then last album, we talked about Lou Gramm earlier. Another solo artist you never hear about is Paul Young, and I do like Paul Young. Every time you go away, "Secret of Association." This is a good album. Just some mellow pop, soft rock from the 1980s. So finish it off with that. Most of those I've never shown before, and I don't know, unless I have a specific reason, I probably won't show them again anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It's all that's what I thought. This would be interesting to see just what the heck we came up with, and then away we go. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this and do this. There we go. All right. I'm just gonna fire through these. Part of these are pulled because they were pulled last week, and some are pulled because I bought them recently. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, great album. One of my only MoFis as well. I'm not sure how many of those that you guys have or not. I don't seek them out. They're always that much more. But yeah, the only MoFi that I've got, Armed Forces. But I listened to this today, and it was pretty fantastic. Gatefold. Let's see what's on the inside. Nothing too crazy, but there you go. Gatefold on the inside. Joanne dropping the laundry basket down the stairs. Thanks, hon. There you go. Supposedly that was the cat knocking it down. But anyway, there's the back. There's the front. Armed Forces. Good stuff. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. I like Elvis. He's put together a fairly steady career. He's never been massive, but stuff like Veronica, I really like things like that. Here's another one that I had pulled out from last week that I listened to. This is a killer album. I like Electric, but this is a really, really fantastic album by The Cult. Love Back to the Beginning. Really good stuff. I saw them open for Billy Idol when this album was out, and they were fantastic and very, very good. Here's one, again, that I don't know if it will surprise people that it's in my collection or not, but The Black Parade. I like this. This is a really good album. I like Teenagers, the song Teenagers on here, but again, I'm not sure if that will surprise many that I have My Chemical Romance, but I do, and it's a good album, and it's a gatefold. So let's get it out. of its Vinyl Storage Solutions sleeve. It's actually some pretty cool artwork on here, I guess, if you're into the gothy dark stuff or whatever. But there's the band and some other stuff going on, and then there's the full cover. So it's good stuff. I don't listen to it a whole bunch. Actually, I just picked it up, so I don't know why I didn't have it earlier, because I like it. And I guess teenagers scare the living shit out of me, I suppose, is part of it. I'll put that back in later. I only have a couple more. I won't keep us long. REM, Automatic for the People. Came across this one in the collection. Good stuff. Really good, actually. And it's an OG as well. So kind of glad to get that one. I don't have Out of Mind, which I'd like to get. I'll save that for a second. This is one that I had pulled from last week because they are one of the original girl groups, Girls School out of the UK. Good stuff. Right around a little bit after the Runaways and a little more heavier, but really good stuff. Might fall into that British rock category. And a twofer of Billy Joel, just because I watched the second part of the documentary and realized that I didn't have these two albums. So I went out and bought these two albums. So I am missing one Billy Joel album. That's it. And it's on the way Friday from distribution, because I added it to because I had to add it. You know, I had to add it to an order. And the last one, for a guy that is not a big Tool fan, this is the third Tool album that I now have. So I know, Daryl, you're a fan. And I like them. I'm just, like I said, I'm not a huge fan, but this is the third album by them that I've got. It was in a collection with some other stuff that I picked up, and I hung on to it. So this is early. Is
that a reissue or is that an OG?
No, I think it's a reissue. Yeah, if it was an OG, I wouldn't be taking it out of the plastic, I think. So, although this one's a little easier to find, I think, than Anemia. I think, is it not, as far as the OGs go?
Yeah, Anemia is and you know, the newer stuff too. The most recent one, what's it called? I can't remember. Like, to even buy some of their new stuff is super expensive.
It is. Yeah, agreed. I don't think this is original. I can't remember for sure, because I don't know if I've tried to put it in Discogs or not yet, but really good stuff. Obviously, Sober on here, which they didn't fucking play in concert, but that's okay. I digress. So anyway, that is it for me. So that was good. I think that was fun. A little free for all. A little question and answer time. And once I got my act together and got at least one computer working out of the three, I think we ended up being okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, exactly. And we had lots of good people on again, as we always do. What's up on Young LP Lovers page?
Well, not a lot. I've been pretty slack, I'll be honest. I think the last videos I did the summer vinyl tag, and then the recent pickups. I've got a couple planned out, like written down in my phone, that I hope to get to. I've been meaning to do. There was that numbers thread. I'm not sure if you've seen that. That was going around.
I think so. Yeah.
So that's all planned out. I just need to pull the records and and film it. So that'll probably be the next one if I ever get around to it. So cool. So that'll be next.
So I know you haven't had lately, but I have a concept for a show down the line where I'd like to have someone come on that lives with a record collector. Now, I know, Daryl, maybe your son, I know your wife's not too into it. I think maybe I can talk Joanne to it, but do you think you could talk the girls into it maybe anymore at this point?
I might be able to, yeah. I might be able to.
I think, I think if we have an evening where we have people that live with us, insane people that collect records, and their thoughts and a little bit. So that's in the future. But yeah, I wasn't sure if the girls would want to come on and do anything anymore. I know you haven't had them on for a while. So
yeah, they have less interest these days.
Yeah. Well, maybe
it's been a very much a K-pop Demon Hunters summer here.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right. And Daryl, how about you? I know, like I said, I know you've got some new ones. You've got some other stuff planned as well.
Yeah. So there was, I remember which video dropped over the weekend. It was my summer vacation final finds that I got.
Right.
Then I did one drop this morning, Juno Award winners. I do have some in my phone. Curtis, you mentioned that numbers one. I know that that's one of the ones on my phone. I've got a list of like 10 or 12 different topics, and some of them even stem back to like MGK Boston, and Randall Weaver had some threads like years ago, but I'm not going to re-bring up their thread, but I might tag them in it and just say like, because I think MGK Boston had one like albums that you were listening to when you were like 12 and 13.
Maybe,
So
yeah.
I'd like to do something like that. I mean, I don't have a lot on vinyl, but it'd be nice to just pull out 5 or 6, and
Yeah.
Weird Al will make an appearance, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I have a list. It's just, once again, it's like you, Curtis, like back to work at school and all that kind of stuff. It's very limited time. And oh yeah, and I was due to be on Chris's show on Sunday, but he, I think, had a little bit of a car accident or something like that. So he's
There was
I
something.
think he's probably rescheduling for this coming Sunday, maybe.
Yeah. I do plan to be on there at some point. He keeps asking. It's just like I said earlier, it's football season here. I got the team that I watch, our main team, and then I help I do some in-stadium stuff with a couple of the junior teams and the university team and that. So that's all going on the weekend, so it's just a little tough. But for me, I've got some things going on at the store. Like I said, we've got a Saturday opening coming up. I did a cautionary tale and a support local video a little while ago. I've got another 12 things that don't belong here to come in the next bit. So yeah, it's just it's nice to be back on Wednesday. I mean, obviously I love going away, but I miss doing this. It's always fun to hang out. I always say it, and I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. It's the modern day equivalent of getting your buddies to come over, or the virtual equipment of getting your buddies to come over. We just can't play any music in the background, but it's nice to be amongst like-minded folks. You know, I talk about folks living with us. Sometimes they're a little more tolerant than the guy at work who's listened to me talk about records over and over and over and over and is probably tired of it, but he still sits there and smiles and listens. There's a couple that don't even smile and listen anymore. They just tune me out. So it's fantastic to be able to do this. And everybody in the comments, Scott, look, I got your name right this time. I hope you're still here. I don't know why I called you. I don't even remember what I called you, but Scott, DJ Vinyl Vertigo with us. Glenn's been with us. Thanks so much. Sean's been with us. Of course, our good buddy Richard, all the people along the line, we thank them for coming. I'm not sure what Chicago Boy is doing because it's 10:35. He's still out there. He's probably still out eating pizza, or I don't know if he was out eating pizza, but I would be.
Oh man, all that thought about deep dish pizza, I'd love a deep dish right now.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I had pizza for supper, but it was the thin crust Napolitano or whatever version of that stuff is. But yes, Daydream, thank you very much for being here as well. You good Saskatchewan kid, you. Guys, a pleasure. Thanks so much. I know it was kind of freeform, willy-nilly, but I think we had fun, right?
Absolutely. Always fun, gentlemen.
Perfect.
Always fun.
All right, you keep all those kids in line at both schools, and I'll see what I can do at the shop, and we'll do this all over again next week. We'll be back for everybody that watched in the comments, and for Daryl and for Curtis. Thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate it, and if you watch later, we appreciate you for watching. Rob, we look forward to having you back next week, and everybody stay safe and keep your elbows up because we're all just a bunch of Canadians here tonight, right? It just gets stupider every damn day. Okay, boys, thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.
Thanks.